talk about burning issues ranging from politics to the economy, culture to sport, education to entertainment, corruption to the environment, we realize the Sierra Leone story is far from finished. So, Sierra Leone Media Production brings you Zoom In. Zoom In is the program that engages everyday people, entrepreneurs, inventors, entertainers, activists, policymakers, and politicians to discuss and debate issues relating to Sierra Leone. Zoom In digs deep into the issues and stories. Zoom In ensures the debate is pushed to another level. Zoom In asks those questions that has never been asked before. So, join me, host Chumaba.
Yes, this na term for all Salon people and them party them. Sierra Leone Media will be bringing you a variety of programs ranging from documentaries to discussions, interviews, news, views, sports, and entertainment. Our programs will contain matters on development, governance, the economy, and issues that are of importance to Sierra Leone. So, no left BNO because we get Bebe program then like Salon discussion, meets the ministers, the president's hour, and the Gladi program. Look me, I look you. All this they start soon na www.sierragemedia.org. Now who's term these?
When I was young, a lot of things were different. Unfortunately, most of the differences seen now are heartbreaking and are not good at all.
Before now, men were strong protectors of the weak, fathers, brothers, lovers, sons. Their mere presence guaranteed the safety of women and children.
But what do we do now?
Men harassing and raping women.
Men sexually abuse little girls.
Men battering and killing their wives.
Any form of sexual assault, be it rape, sexual abuse, or pedophilia, is a killer to human self-esteem.
Women should stop dying in silence. Speak now.
The rapist should be stigmatized, not the victim.
I think death sentence should be the consequence of such terrible acts.
And you mothers, build confidence in your children, put trust in them, listen to them when they make reports, and take necessary actions.
Talking of mothers before now, women were virtuous.
They were mothers, daughters, and sisters.
Nurturing, counseling, supporting their men folks.
But now,
women are trafficking female children for money.
Women are forced to be silenced.
All this must stop, and it must stop now.
Real men do not abuse, rape, or molest women and children. It is barbaric, unacceptable.
Let all real men stand with us.
Together, let's say an emphatic no to rape, sexual abuse, pedophilia, and domestic violence.
Of all the crimes committed against a person, rape is the one that leaves the person feeling very violated. A rape victim is often left with the feeling that a part of them has been torn apart.
To use another person's body and ignore the soul that resides within is one of the most outstandingly shocking crimes that one person can commit against another.
Some men harass and rape their women.
Some men
sexually abuse underage girls.
Some men beat and kill their wives.
Any form of sexual assault is unacceptable.
There must be consent before you act.
Being in a relationship is not consent.
If they are not sober, they can't consent.
Flirting is not a consent.
We had sex before is not consent.
Silence is not consent.
Only an informed, sober, freely given, ongoing and enthusiastic yes is consent.
Women should stop dying in silence.
A man does not become a real man by physically dominating a woman. A man becomes a real man by loving, protecting, and respecting the woman.
Real men do not rape or abuse women and children.
Let all real men stand with us. And together, let's say no to child abuse, no to domestic violence, no to all forms of rape, being it spousal rape, intimate partner rape, child sex abuse, statutory rape, date rape, serial rape, and gang rape.
We must rise up against this ugly trend.
Justice for one, justice for all.
All sexual assault must stop, and it must stop now.
I was raped multiple times by my aunt's boyfriend when I was 6.
I was repeatedly raped at the age of 8 by a close family member.
I was raped at 19. I didn't speak openly about it because I was ashamed and afraid that people would judge me.
I was raped at age 5 by my caregiver's husband.
On June 17th, 2020, 5-year-old Khadija Sakho, a beautiful little girl from Freetown, Sierra Leone, was repeatedly raped and strangled to death, allegedly by her own cousin. Her death shocked the nation. But in truth, in this small West African country, 9 out of 10 girls experience some form of sexual violence in their lifetime. Think about that for a second. 9 out of 10. That's 90%. My name is Aisha Sase. I'm a journalist and activist. I'm joining forces with Idris Elba and other activists from across Sierra Leone to support the survivors of sexual violence with the Survivors Solidarity Fund. Please consider donating whatever you can afford. All monies raised will go to 4 local organizations currently providing free medical and legal services to survivors. 5-year-old Khadija lost her life to sexual violence. That same threat remains for millions of others. So this is also a call for you to use your voice, your power, to draw attention to an enduring culture of rape. Together, we must end it now. My name is Aisha Sase. I am Khadija Sakho.
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 We are Khadija Sakho.
We are all Khadija Sakho.
Hello, my name is Josephine Kamara. I'm the founder of You Can Do It Foundation. You Can Do It Foundation is a charitable organization based in Sierra Leone, West Africa. You Can Do It Foundation has been in existence for the past 2 years. We have been fighting gender-based violence against women and girls within the community. During the past 2 years, we have been offering psychosocial support, counseling, court fee, medical fee, including school items to the survivors of gender-based violence. However, during the lockdown of COVID-19, report received and confirmed that rape cases among a minor has increased tremendously within our community. Because of this, You Can Do It Foundation has secured the land to build an accommodation for the survivors of rape. However, this may almost become impossible without your generous support. We need your help to build this home. for the survivors. Your help could be in cash or in kind. If you wish to join us to make a difference in a child's life, please go to our website, which is www.youcandoitcyf.org, or you can go to our GoFundMe page, which is Home of Hope for the survivors of gender-based. Or you can contact us with the details at the end of this video. We thank you greatly for your generous support, and thank you once more for making a difference in a child's life.
Hello, family them. Una kushe, una kabo, una afternoon, good morning, good evening, and good day, depending on whose part na the world we find yourself. And we always say good night as well, because some people they don't tell adu and say good night. Welcome to Sierra Leone Media Platform again, January 2021. This now we first program for official program for the year 2021, and on zooming in. We appreciate you now all and welcome again, and we hope say God will continue for keep we well for see this 2021, and hope say the COVID way they ravage the world today go away soon, and we will continue for get back to normal lives them. Me una present na Jumaba. We get an exciting program for una today, and we hope so una go join the conversation. As always, we they appeal to una for una ensure say una keep them clean, una keep them quiet, and interesting at the same time. Please let we make sure say we sanitize the conversation and the debate. Respect everybody's opinion, including we guests. Now you right for make you know farm views them, but please let we make sure say we sanitize them at the same time. I get with we of course Sylvester Duba, we now we creative director. T-Boy, welcome officially to zooming in January 2021.
Hi, welcome viewers, and I think say
we know they you T-Boy.
It's a pleasure for me to be here. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
It's a pleasure for me for the also today, because this now we official starting program for 2021, and I know say everybody we done they wait for see when we officially start the new year, and finally we're here today to open 2021 with an exclusive. Like we say, we end with an exclusive and we open up with an exclusive. Although we don't get a lot of issues then we don't happen within we personally with the beliefs and all that stuff, we just say rest in peace to all those who have lost who don't die for 2020 and 2021 in the opening, and may God give them all good rest in place. But today, officially, I'm not going to say we don't mourn on, but we don't resume duties. And as Sierra Leone Media, I will say thank you to Una as the members them, and also the viewers them for being patient with us, because we had a very shock bereaved. We God being for go through, we make the program, then we just stay on hold for all this period of time. But we welcome you guys back with warm heart, and we say thank you for all those we extend their sincere condolences to we, especially me and the people who are very close to me were lost. So we welcome Una, and we left Una with the clear hands of my Honorable Jumaba. They take me for a massive ride, because this ride is one of the most pleasant ride for 2021. And
well, it's the beginning of anything.
It's the beginning of beginning. Like we say before, end 2020, 2021 is going to be excited. It is going to be.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, T-Boy, and I will, of course, welcome Mr. Obafemi Pama, we been there away in Don't welcome, and we guess them, of course, will be excited for see you. I will tell them I do.
Hello, Juma. Can you hear me?
We hear you loud and clear, Mr. Pama.
Okay, good. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We hope say una go enjoy we show today. We don't miss una. I should say una self don't miss we. Anyway, I only come back to London this weekend and I come with some serious cold. I not be ever know say as London cold. But you come on a warm country, they can this country. Now you didn't say the place truly cold. So today I'd expect say Juma and we guest and T-Boy go warm me up considerably.
Well, we'll try. Thank you so much, Mr. Pama. And Fambulem, again, we say welcome to Sierra Gem Media. And we don't see the adverts out there. Say we get Chernoh Alpha M, the editor for the Africanist Press. We don't they bring with some news, some revelations where since over a year now, but the last couple of months has been really tense, and it puts everybody on edge, but at the same time it open people them. And again, for we, the reason why it's important to host Mr. Ba and anybody where they talk about their issues, then they because issues where they affect we directly. We get for do with corruption, mismanagement, and financial crimes, and how possibly allegations they go say, people them where we entrust with the government, they loot state funds or convert them to their own personal use. So Africanist Press don't engage and don't they publish a lot of things where then they pull evidence from the leadway issue to ministries them and MDAs their way they get money or convert them to something else, or just misuse waiting supposed for be for the 7 million people. So we get Chernoh now, so as been promised the last time say it will come here so again for talk about a few of those findings. We just want for welcome Alona Siam because no say now on account for can see Mr. Ba Chernoh Alpha M Ba, because we they say Mr. Ba we get for differentiate. Welcome officially to Sierra Gem Media in 2021, and Fambulengo one for your voice for let you say adu to them.
Yes, thank you very much, Juma, and thanks to the production team. It's an opportunity for them, and can share some stories that we're going to publish and talk about them. And so I look forward to the conversation and questions. And as always, I appreciate the work we're looking at and we really emphasize the significance of the kind of work we Sierra Gem and many other similar platforms they do right now. I think this improves on democracy, it improves on citizens' participation in the national conversation and dialogue. So thank you very much for having me.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Palmer. Will please let you check the sound. We audience and they say there's an echo or possibly they're not very clear. So if you can check that for us, we'll appreciate it very much. And keep una questions and coming because T-Boy will keep a tab of those questions and we will be able to ask some of them. Some will not be able to ask because we get limited time and a lot for run through today. Mr. Palmer, please check the sound, please. People then say they're not hearing. T-Boy, if you self can monitor the sound out there, please. All right, let's see what's happening. Unabiawi, sound definitely will come to una just now. I think we are good now. Okay, Mr. Ba, you don't cause a lot of anxiety. You don't, when I say you, as Africanist Press, as the editor of the Africanist Press, you don't keep salon people them on their toes. You don't make people either open to a lot of things. And people still do have a lot of questions for you for confirm, because possibly some people, they think, say, oh, within the Africanist Press they produce is just a made-up story. So let's clarify that part there for us.
Yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity for throw some light on some of the information we don't put out at the public domain and the kind of conversation we don't emerge as a consequence of some of that work there. But to answer your question directly, the Africanist Press, not just the published information, we publications, for example, on Sierra Leone for the last almost 12 months now, because we begin this, I think, February 23rd, the year 2020, when we announced to the people of Sierra Leone that we will begin examine the conduct and activities of the Madabio administration leading up 2 years into the almost half of the mandate, the 5-year mandate where this administration gets. So since then, if you observe the pattern of publications, we ensure that each article or each publication is supported by documentary evidence. You know, you get different kinds of evidence where people they use for in a publication. But in our own case, because of the nature of the kind of work that we do, we decide to say we need to publish anything. We must support it from first-hand evidence, basically paper-based evidence, documentary evidence. Constitute documents that talk by themselves. Apart from the analysis where you draw for explain the information in the documents by itself, they testify on its own. So that now one, and not only that, when one other principle that we triangulate, we get a triangular formula in we investigation for make sure say 3 sides to the evidence, so basically the threshold. The 10-point threshold we will work on, at least if we meet 9.5. Sometimes when we weigh the evidence, when we deal with, we find out that we don't even cross the 10-point threshold, which is at least 100% or thereabout. So the importance of that kind of work, and the fact that as a journalist, you don't even need for come out and defend what you don't publish. Now for just if conversation emerge, and if I just throw additional clarification on some of the issues, because some of them questions, especially when you talk about graft, corruption, financial crime, you get to deal with a particular kind of language we require simplification, economic and financial journalism, financial reporting generally now. And difficult, it's tedious on its own, apart from the investigation, for relay the kind of narrative, it involves a different kind of language. So for we not to basically a challenge to the evidence now, how we will make sure say the content of the evidence is brought down, you bring that down to the understanding of the various sectors of the population. And for the Africanist Press, it's difficult in the sense that we need to talk just to one audience, just to the Sierra Leonean audience. There's a different component of the audience where we cater to some academics, some, regular journalists, some activists, different sectors of the population, and the everyday citizen, the everyday individual, we actually, the individuals, they are in the majority where they suffer the consequences of public policy. So for bringing down that kind of econometrics, the numbers, the statistical information, the data, to their own comprehension, and they're able to relate to and directly, that is the challenge. But yeah, we ensure that if the evidence don't meet the triangular formula, it don't meet the 10-point threshold, we're willing to hold on to them. In fact, much of these publications will do so. And I assure you, say, we don't hold on, some of them, at least to a minimum of 8 months or more, although you see the updated aspects of the narrative. For example, we talk about the December expenditure of the presidency. That one day, you think that now it happened, it is something we've been following, for at least 14 months now, the pattern of theft. And that they decide, okay, at this moment, this is the kind of information that you have to release, the decision making and all of that. We have not published anything on Sierra Leone that is not supported on first-hand evidence, which is documentary evidence from official sources.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Mr. Chernoh Alpha M, for at least give the people the confidence that you get enough. Una can do una research. Una make sure say una meet una own standard before una publish anything. So that now lead me. You don't publish a lot of articles since this government, since February 2020, like where you say, but then we get two different publications where cause a whole lot of people, and we see people and they come after you, people and the government agents, then they come and try for discredit. First was the Leadway, the issue about the Timbergate. That one they caused so much. But most recently, the publications that we get for do with the First Lady and the First Lady in office, especially the one where you say the First Lady office gets illegal funds. Okay. Let me clarify certain things then first, because now I'll deal with the small things. They'll push them aside. They'll go to the nitty-gritty of the publications or some of the claims that we Africanist Press make. I will say claims, for satisfy the other side for now. Firstly, after you publish this last article, we see the First Lady of Sierra Leone, Madame Fatima Bio, come out and try for discredit. You say you did these articles not because you want for talk about corruption, but not because you're bitter that you ask for job and they're not give you job. In 2018, you drove to Bo and go meet President Mada Bio and go ask him for job for let them make you spokesman, but they not give you the job, so now that make you bitter. And secondly, he say you hate a man or you dey try for seek attention. So that's one part of it. Try for explain to we how is that so, on in your opinion.
Well, I don't try very hard to stay away from the personal conversation, because within that one they do is subtract from the fundamental question of corruption and the looting of the national treasury, where the very landing at the heart of the matter in this conversation. But yes, I think when smaller petty questions like this creep in, thinking of the kind of population we will get and realizing perhaps the opportunity.
Mr. Ba, I want to let you hold on there quick, because it's something very important. I want to let you see if you're able to adjust the sound on your own end, because they say they get so much bass sound.
Hello.
Apologies to we viewers. We need to get this right, because we want to make sure we guests able to communicate with you clearly and learn agreeable for your area. You don't adjust something there, Mr. Ba?
We sound all okay. I don't know how.
All right. So reduce the volume small and let's see. Continue. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
I don't know if this one okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. This way.
Yeah, keep going. If anything, we'll let you know. Go ahead.
Yeah, like I say, in the first place, me no ever meet. I just make this short, enough around. I no ever meet Madame Fatima Bio personally, facially. I no ever meet with them. In fact, since 2016, when I published my book on Ebola, I have practically been out of Sierra Leone for the most part. I know these are the first time in my own lifetime who are out of Sierra Leone for consistently, I think, 5 years now. Why? Because subsequent to the publication of my book in 2016, I go on a tour right across the US and other places. Then after that, subsequent to that one, after my tour, I get a scholarship for can do a PhD in the US. So I take the offer, and since then, I don't be permanently outside Sierra Leone for the most part. So I have never met the First Lady. I don't know her personally, and I don't know her basically. This is the thing, and I believe, in statements again for people who know me, know say she's wrong and is made up. But I forgive them kind of statement. I think say then come from the point that the Madam First Lady is new in Sierra Leone, a new person. It's not sabi we country. I think say that these 3 years you don't live there for you don't become active in the politics as a consequence of a husband becoming the president. So it no about Sierra Leone politics, it not sabi the people and we don't become active in Sierra Leone, because anybody who know me know say at least for 20 years now I don't become active writing from the days of Tijan Kaba to the days of Ernest Koroma and up to now. And I remember I was editor of Concord Times before Ernest Koroma became president of the country. The SLPP then, including Samabaya, who was chairman of the party, we get exchanges where he talks, say, they call me APC then. APC kind of power and begin call me SLPP. So this frontier of categorizing people, calling them, say, whenever they stood up against bad governance, corruption, injustices of the state, state repression that they want for seek attention. I mean, that one a tired thing where brush where they don't use all the time.
Right.
If an able say you know APC or SLPP, then will say a job you want. If they not say that, they will go begin to say you're angry and bitter. But let me talk about anger and bitterness. I think so we need to make this thing.
So before you go here, now just ask re-echo the questions again. Okay. The question again. So are you saying that in 2018, where President Madabio, after they don't swear me, don't become president of Sierra Leone, you not been this salon?
No, but everybody know that. I don't even participate.
But the First Lady claim say you drive from Freetown, you go Bo for go ask for job for Lennon.
Like I tell you, that's a complete lie. I have been out of Sierra Leone. I'm sorry to say it's a lie, and there's not a name for it. It's just a plain lie. You don't understand. So, I don't be out of Sierra Leone since 2017. I mean 2016 for the better part. Since March, in fact, since March 29, a day after my birthday, I flew from Conakry to Dakar, and then from there, so I permanently since the 30th of March 2016, permanently.
Okay.
You don't understand. First on a book tour. Second, I take a position for complete a PhD in Northwestern, and I've been here since 2017 to now. So I never meet this woman. In fact, the Madam First Lady, I've never met her personally, facially. You understand? So I don't know her. So I just consider the statement as a statement coming from somebody that is ignorant of the politics of Sierra Leone, that doesn't know anything about the politics of Sierra Leone. So in position and in role right now is accidental. And because of that, I just consider the statements coming from that direction as misinformed. So the people that will tell them about me, they have to go back and help her understand so we don't come to this point. You know, okay. So, but I don't feel that one is relevant in the equation.
No, but for we, maybe it might not be, but for the public, we wanted that clarification.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, for this people, I know ever meet an abo. In fact, I not been in this salon 2018 during the election. I was I was writing on the elections, but I wasn't there. I haven't been there since 2016.
Okay. All right. Okay. So go. You say you want to talk about anger and bitterness.
Oh, yeah. Because why is it important for me to address the meaning of anger in politics? Because I see this. People they say, "Oh, he's bitter. He's angry. He's bitter." So I say this. There is no citizen of Sierra Leone, as it is right now, way for be happy with the current looting of the national treasury. Okay? Every patriotic citizen, everybody with a freedom-loving individual, not going to be happy with the nature and character of the kind of governance we get in a saloon. Now, how do you justify the killing of prisoners, for example? How do you justify the killing of young people who came out to demonstrate in defense of a generator, when in actual fact, somebody like me who has seen the evidence of the massive looting of national wealth and transferring of that wealth out of the country, you think I would be happy for that kind of situation? So if you want to call me current engagement or exposure of the regime and the ongoing corruption as a consequence of anger or bitterness, not because I cannot imagine any president in this time and age, in this 21st century, for sending presidential guards to a prison yard that is on fire, okay, where smoke, carbon monoxide, thick smoke, the prisoners are struggling for their lives. They are being suffocated with smoke. Then you have armed police people and military people, presidential guards of the president, going there, surrounding the perimeter of the prison, and then they fire tear gas and live rounds of ammunition, killing prisoners. Up to now, we do not even know the number of prisoners that have died. And this president, up to this point, has not even offered any kind of remorse. Those prisoners who were killed were buried in mass graves without the knowledge of their parents and the greater majority of Sierra Leoneans. So you kill prisoners in prison, you lock down the country for 3 days and take these prisoners and go bury them. That is a gross human rights violation. Nobody, genocide to largest. So nobody in the right senses go feel happy with the government of this nature. So let's forget about even the theft of the stealing of public money. How will you imagine that kind of situation where people are now afraid to speak out because they think they're going to go to their houses and arrest them and have them in prison? We have Camaremba who's in prison. We have political prisoners. People are not talking about them. So, in fact, there should be outrage, national outrage against this kind of regime, this kind of government. So if you call me a bitter, I wouldn't even apologize to you for that kind of situation. Right. Okay? But my bitterness is not because you think I get a personal thing. I have no personal thing other than the fact that I'm a citizen of Sierra Leone that has decided that I cannot be silent in the face of tyranny and in the face of this bad governance where they take place. Most of these people in power, they are not strangers to me. I know them personally. Some of them I went to college with. Some of them are journalists who I worked with. Some of them are politicians who I have met because I have been active in Sierra Leone for the last 20 years. So I know virtually everybody from Mother Beauty Kandong. I know them all. Just like any other political party that has leaders, I've met them either in my capacity as a journalist or as a political activist. So me as a citizen of Sierra Leone, we have 7 million people. Very few people have gone to school. We get one supposedly prominent university where we all go. So I know all these characters. They are opposed to me now because I have refused to be part of their agenda, which is that agenda to repress the people and steal from public resources. So the only thing I get for say, he is bitter, he wants job, he wants that. But I cannot be part of that kabudu of theft. I've decided not to be that. So you can call me whatever names. But I am bitter indeed because I'm angry with the kind of theft. You cannot imagine the killing of innocent people, defenseless citizens, unarmed, in a prison yard. Who will be happy with that kind of situation? So we still therefore demand that these people who have done this must be brought to justice. Right. And they should be held accountable for this kind of situation. Nobody has even talked about how many prisoners were killed in that prison yard. That is just one tiny example of the many examples of violations that don't take place under Mother Beauty Watch in just 2 years, just like it was under the military days where the country be at war. And we're not even under war, we're not under military rule. We talk about somebody that supposedly voted through the ballot box and is presiding over the wanton killing of citizens. Who will be happy with that kind of government?
Right. Okay, Mr. Ba, let's go back to the publications again. So the First Lady say, what do you expect her to do? Not only ask for money, then get the money and use them on government projects. So as far as she's concerned and people that they support her, there is no crime committed. So why you think say it's illegal?
Because it's just illegal. The office of the First Lady, in fact, for trying to justify that illegality, not either plain ignorance or dishonesty. Because the fact of the matter is the wife of a president is just the wife of a president. What you call First Lady is just another title for the wife of a president. If we never understand, say, government is not like I have a company, Chernoh Alpha Enterprises. So if a married woman tomorrow, that woman they again a shareholder in the company, can just go to a shop and talk, say, I want 30,000 euros, I want go pull a door, so I can go contribute, give me 30,000, give me 50,000. That is not how you run a government. That is the mentality. For talk, say, because I'm the First Lady, I am working on that. There is no law, no precedent that supports that kind of situation where they are claiming, for example, the First Lady not talk, say, in order in receipt of public funds. And but only admit this after the Africanist Press published basically undeniable evidence, the bank statement of the First Lady showing that she has, the office of the First Lady, get a direct account, a personalized account for the office, okay, of the First Lady, not under the account of the presidency. So we need to make that distinction very clear. This is an account, and I hear from the First Lady in response that, oh, this account has existed before Inde become First Lady, but that's not true. The records of the Bank of Sierra Leone, they show clearly that this account was set up on June 28th. When you look at the account statement, it started with a closing balance of 0 cents. And then the first government. So we don't publish this. So basically what that is saying is that no law no allow for we use public money. Anybody who is a government official get access to public money. Not to because you are the wife of the president. That means say you get direct, you get legal access.
Directly. Yeah, but in the claim say na government's programs they implement.
No, now I have to tell you, for you get access to government, it has to be approved by Parliament. Okay? For example, it says, in the type of, say, other previous First Ladies, like, you say the wife of President Nkrumah at the time also had the same, access to public money. But I have looked at the bank records. We have looked at the bank records. I will assure the people of Sierra Leone. And if anybody denies, they can bring their own evidence. But the evidence in front of us is saying that for the past 50 to 60 years now of our independence, okay, this is the first time that the wife of a president of Sierra Leone has an account that is run and funded from the Consolidated Revenue Fund, which is illegal in the first place. And they know this is illegal. And this account is set up 1 month after Madabio was inaugurated on the 28th of June 2018. And not only that, it was started with $2.9 billion. We've published not only the date that account was opened, but also the check number will contain the opening balance of the account, 2.9 billion. Okay, that will show the whole, the subsequent allocations from the Consolidated Revenue Fund. So what we say that this is not the first time in the history of independent Sierra Leone, based on the bank records, not me making it. I don't look at the bank records from the days of, I might take from the days of Momo, or maybe we even take from the days of Tijan Kapato now. This is not the first time where the wife of the president get immune budgetary allocation. And what makes it more scary and fearful is the fact that the wife of the president get 2 times, in some cases, 3 times, in some cases, 4 times what is supposed to be, or what other ministries and when a government departments and agencies get. So this is it's not only unprecedented, but the amount of money given to the First Lady is money that she, with the extravagant spending, they even able to spend her. The balance we left, even more than when you combine 2-3 ministries in government. This is what is shocking to us. And any effort for explain this and for try for legalize or normalize them, it's in itself criminal by itself. It's not just dishonest, but a criminal effort for justify illegality. But for me, I am not surprised that they responded that way, because when we caught these people on tax evasion and devaluation of the value of timber exports, what did they say? Which was a plain violation of the export and trade laws and finance laws of the country. They say, oh, they made a mistake. So now when we don't catch them, because they cannot say it's a mistake because of the bank statements and the evidence, now they try to hide, say it is being done under the office of the president. But that is not the case. If the office of the president do the withdrawals, it means the expenditure for show, say the impressed account of the office of the president get this allocation that we are made to fund the Hands for Girls campaign. So in that case, it will appear as that the somebody from the office of the president and withdraw the money. It just go the First Lady is just a participant in the activity. But no,
right.
He is an administrator of the account. Now, an administrator of the account is being run under her own activities and operation. So she is directly responsible for the account independently, and has been running. And there are 2 accounts the office of the First Lady gets. We are only talking about the Bank of Sierra Leone account. There is a second account by this same office of the First Lady that's under the administration of the Rokel Commercial Bank. We have not published the details of that. That one.
So now get another account.
Oh yeah, 2 accounts. And not to that, look, if now want to know this thing, we'll look at the audit report, 2019 audit report. We'll look at the appendix of the audit report. The Auditor General said explicitly that the narrative we contained in the 2019 audit, some of the information come out from government, a list of government accounts we constitute, and the Office of the First Lady did it. As one, a bank account by the Office of the First Lady, you don't understand, at the Bank of Sierra Leone. The second account, at the local commercial bank. The second account, in fact, that then you get money that we have to sell in the NGOs, UNFPA, then other small donation. And what is interesting is that we also tracked Ministry of Finance allocation apart from the one way, then they draw from the consolidated fund to the Bank of Sierra Leone account. They also send money directly from the Accountant General's department and letters and correspondences from the Minister of Finance straight into the local commercial bank account. One of those funds include 3.1 billion we then give to the First Lady in 2018, December, for fund the launching of the Hands for Our Girls campaign. So even when don't give budget reallocation at the Bank of Sierra Leone, they also added, and we don't publish that letter there for last year. We also republished in this last article where we published.
Right. So you're saying that apart from the budgetary allocation, Ministry of Finance still pay money to the other account, local commercial bank, to the tune of 3.1 billion leons.
Oh yeah, because that one they come out from a letter where the admin and finance officer of the Office of the First Lady writes to the secretary to the president and requests they need money, additional funding for the Office of the First Lady for launch the Hands for Our Girls campaign on the 14th and 15th of December. So the secretary to the president, someone wrote from the president's office to the Minister of Finance asking that the First Lady be given additional money. Okay, and Bokari Momofo was the one who wrote on behalf of the secretary to the president to the Minister of Finance. The Minister of Finance write again and tell them, say, yes, the money has been disbursed. Now around 3,100 and something million. That letter did in at the Africanist Press website. Okay, now the second time this was published, that letter. That was the first letter we published last year, I think March 15, 2020. And then we published this past Sunday again, for sure. So what am I saying is that when the Office of the First Lady, they say the Bank of Sierra Leone account, they're under the Office of the President, but it does not take away the fact that she also runs another bank account with the local commercial bank where NGOs, corporate institutions like AfriCell and many other groups they all put money. In fact, the balances in that account are 2 times more than what we are talking about with the Bank of Sierra Leone. The question is why the Africanist Press decided to start with the Bank of Sierra Leone account, now the fact that it shows direct disbursement from the Consolidated Revenue Fund, which is what we refer to as off-budgetary allocations. These were not part of the Ministry of Finance, the Minister of Finance's appropriation bill we put in the Parliament for say. Because for me, government, for me you use money from the Consolidated Fund, the Finance Minister therefore lay out an appropriation bill to Parliament where the Minister of Finance will talk about how much they intend to raise in taxes and other forms of another source of revenue, and also what they intend to use, the amount of money they use, and that will include the various budgets where agencies, ministries, and departments submit to the Minister of Finance. So they go to Parliament, lobby Parliament, argue for that. Parliament either reduce the budget or debate the appropriation bill and give them a finance act. The law will allow them to do that. So the money that went to the Office of the First Lady in these 2.5 years were not included in any of the appropriation bills, the budgetary estimates where the Minister of Finance present, both in 2018, 2019, and even now in 2020. You can go check, you can go read them. There's no mention of that in the, so which means Ministry of Finance officials and the presidency, they stole money from the Consolidated Fund and gave it secretly to the Office of the First Lady. And that is why you see the First Lady was insistent and adamant in saying that she was not receiving money from the public budget because she knows that those funds were not part of the budgetary estimates and allocations presented by Mr. Fund. There was nothing that supports such kind of financial operation. So for making admit now, 2.5 years, 30 months down the line, that indeed he received money, which was a mismatch to what she has been saying all this time. So the question is, forgetting about whether he used the right way or not, voting at the legal basis, voting authorized, why were they hiding the fact that she was receiving money? Because they know it is illegal. It's not supported by law. So then it comes to the question of how the money was used. The money.
I want you land for so go come how the money.
So these people basically, it is why, because the president, the finance minister, the accountant general, and the bank governor, they knew exactly that what they were doing. They were covering up for the first lady, and the first lady is consciously aware of that kind of situation. Otherwise, she will not deny that she has not been using.
So they not be expect say something like this go come out.
Oh yeah, because this brings us to one thing. It comes down to the executive order number 1 that the president passed in April, early April, where it talks say it don't freeze out, it don't centralize public spending. Now that make the Africanist Press decide, in fact, to investigate public finance under the Bureau administration, because it makes sense in certain ways for say we want to run a single treasury account because we want to close down leakages, we want to mop up wastage in governance by centralizing the account and creating a single treasury account, then which other ministers and departments, ministries and departments spend frivolously, we will know how money they go out, how money they come in. Okay? The first few months, these people begin pretend that they are transparent. They were announcing, oh, we don't generate this from customs, from NRA, from these people. We are happy. They made the claim that they were even paying salaries without resorting to domestic borrowing. People said, oh, yeah, that's good. They even went as far as publishing the size of the delegation. Just 1 month, 2 months down the line, they refused. They refused to disclose the amount of revenues that have been generated. They refused to talk about expenditure. They refused to talk about delegation, travel delegation. They began to hide the presidential travel delegation. And that started with the president's trip to China.
Okay.
In Ghana, New York. So what am I saying is that the single treasury account that we find out was one of the ways that we were able to hide. That was what made it possible for them to hide the fact that they were giving money to the first lady. Because if there was no single treasury, which people never know, because then this single government account, not only the finance minister, J.J. Safa, with the financial secretary, the director of budget, Matthew Dingy, and the accountant general's department, the president's office, and the bank governor, senior banking officials. These were the only people who were aware of this secret account. I would call it secret account. That's why we call it illegal public spending. You cannot spend public money secret like secret society business.
Right.
So this
okay.
is.
All right, hold on. They'll come to T-Boy. Then I'll get some questions them for you. And Fambulem, una bring una questions. If we have any questions or comments, we una follow direct to Mr. Ba. Please do so. We will touch on them. And also, please bear in mind, I'll get for ask you, because I know say before that you published something about the Lebanon expense. So we'll get for talk about that there as well. So keep watching. Let's go to T-Boy quick.
Yes, you don't come to me, Mr. Ba. Can you hear me?
T-Boy.
Yes.
Okay.
You don't hear, Mr. Ba in presentation. And I should say something, we don't follow the back and forth. Here we are. I know right. This na mid half, not to have time for so now the quarter half this with this. So what do you have to say?
I've listened to all the narration of Mr. Ba, and I take some notes, and I also follow up the discussion when it happened at the chat, and the statements and comments and support and back support and everything when it happened at the chat is cool. All I just emphasize on the chat once more now for keep it civil. Don't go personal, otherwise you know now within the rules. Now, Sierra Leone Media, you're likely to be blocked for today's show. And I think so far it's been fine, although I see a few statements and we kind of very close to the margin of words being used, but I think I still keep my eyes on the chat group. But my question is, today's politics in Sierra Leone, we realize, being a first lady has become something of a status, because we don't get the likes of Rebecca Stevens, Patricia Kabar, Hannah Momo, and Tosia Kuruma. And obviously, first ladies' positions were that of a public thing where everybody will keep an eye on. And I think every single one of these first lady being gets their own social issues the way they may tackle as first ladies. But I don't think any Sierra Leonean then gets any kind of impact knowledge of possibly any of them first lady there. So other than Sia Kuruma, we can make them a bit more glamorous. because the likes of Hannah Momoa and Patricia Kaba were just subtle. Of course, Rebecca Stevens, not much was said about her other than her lifestyle with her kids and all that stuff. But it looked like, for say, being a first lady now all over the world is not just about you being a first lady. It's like you're second acting as a president. It means everywhere you go, you have the same kind of entourage where the president gets, which to me is a bit of a surprise, because if we quite say Salon no get money, Africa is poor, Africa need money, especially Sierra Leone, then we have to look at the activities of our first ladies going back within the next 2 terms of elections and currently waiting with the face na Salon. Because first ladies are not meant to be in the kitchen to cook for their husbands, though definitely no. But at the same time, we expect them for raise money and try for see how they're able to implement some of their agenda. Them when the agenda with them believe in, where then they go into office of being the first lady of any president with the rule. So it's a bit surprising for the amount of funds being allocated illegally by the government of Sierra Leone to the first lady, we I think say raise a lot of eyebrows. My concern is not the fact that the money was used, but it's the process at which the money was allocated. And why was the money allocated when we still complain, say, there is no funds in Sierra Leone to run our ministries? Are we prioritizing the agenda of the First Lady over the agenda of the issues of Sierra Leoneans in the ministries they run? So to me, that raised a lot of eyebrows, being that the Minister of Finance gets a priority for make sure, say, it spend the money to the ministries then way it look after. I don't think why billions of leones should be spent on an agenda that is not really directly connected to the agendas of the ministries they organize alone.
That was going to be my that might be my other question. You know, where all these things then say there was no funds, money not being in the country.
Right.
But how comes 1 month in to governance, just after they swearing the president, they're able to allocate this huge amount to the office of the First Lady. But then you get a ministry, like the Ministry of Social Welfare, where possibly now they're supposed for the champion some of these things where the office of the First Lady say now government program and they run. Fine, the office of the First Lady can get your agenda and your own interest. But if you say you they run government program and then kick out the line ministry, then that says a lot. Then you left a whole lot of people crippled, then just sit down there. So why do we have the Ministry of Social Welfare? That means we need foreclosure, because you pay people them. You know, you appoint all these political officials to a ministry where non-functional, where you get the office of the First Lady and get all the resources and they do all the work where, say that they do all the work where the Ministry of Social Welfare, for example, supposed to do. I don't understand.
Me response to that is simple, because one of the things that we notice now, Salona, the fact say over the years, I think the First Lady has been part of every government official openings of everything.
As a ceremonial guest.
As a ceremonial guest. I don't have any issue for you accompanying your husband to all these events. But there are times when even the president not the present, not even, but she's present. So basically, I'm saying there is nothing wrong with spending money, but the process at which you allocate the money is one. And two, why spend money on an agenda where you can spend that same money on agendas? We're not saying that the agenda of the First Lady is not relevant, but there are more pressing issues, dying issues that should be looked into carefully as a government. Because let's take the issue of politics away, but as a government, there are issues that we should really consider as primary issues that governments need to allocate funds to.
Right.
But if we don't have that funds being allocated and government is crying for not having funds to actually execute some of these duties of the ministries, but there is fund available to go to the First Lady's account, then I should ask the Ministry of Finance a lot of questions. Because currently, within the past couple of weeks, running to Christmas, the bank governor for the first time in Sierra Leone stated there is no money in the bank. And how on earth you have a bank and there is no money?
Okay.
Doesn't mean that the money doesn't circulate. Doesn't mean that the money is just finished. The vault is empty.
Right.
And
okay.
Sierra Leoneans...
Olande, that are food for thought. So they come back to you just now, and then we'll go back to questions. Mr. Ba, you hear T-Boy in your own commentary and your opinion with Ongi. I want to let you, is there anything that you want to touch on specifically that he highlighted? Then we'll go back to we main questions.
Yeah, I think the key point where a flag here and where I think say we need for talk about a little bit now the fact that because this come down to Madam Fatima Jabibio in response to the Africanist Press initial publication we talk about in illegal access to public funds, and that it say the Africanist Press for don't compare in your access to public funds compared to Sierra Leone, for example, or maybe comparing that again with other first ladies in other parts of the region or the African continent per se. So I will start say yes, like Mr. Duba talk about the fact say the first time we perhaps will begin see a more active, publicly active first lady. We will begin to say now within the period for people way younger. We'll begin to think saying Sierra Leone, Madam Sierra Leone, for example, as the beginning. So we take that as a starting point, and I have said elsewhere what are called the institutionalization of what we call the office of the for call the first lady office, for add that name office to the wife of a president, basically for official the effort for officialize for turn the wife of a president as an organization,
right?
Because when you say office of the first lady, basically what you are trying to do is to pretend that the wife of the president is an organization. It's an organization.
Right, you don't formalize
No, there's a difference between formal. You don't make her as you don't NGOize her. You don't make her as an NGO, a non-governmental organization. So the first time where I think in millions and the records we had to look at, the first time we get that word in government in letterhead as office of the first lady, it starts with Madam Sierra Leone. But the difference, here's the difference. The records will be whole, and we don't look at the records of the bank, the records of the banks. I make an announcement now to these SLPP people who listen and they insult. We have collected the banking records of Sierra Leone, okay, especially starting with the Sierra Leone Commercial Bank as a government, which is called public bank, the local commercial bank, and the Bank of Sierra Leone as central bank records, at least from the days of Momo up to where we are for look at presidential expenditure. And then we look at also what they call first lady. There is no record of any first lady, make a put onto them now. When they listen, when I want to believe this lie, where they want to SLP people want like you now. There is no record of any first lady beginning with at least more start with the war generation. From Tijan Kaba in time, can to Ernest Koroma in time, can to Mada Bio now. No record, no day of any of them first lady them before Fatima Bio. We get account as in office account with the Bank of Sierra Leone. There's none. Okay? You don't ever get that kind of direct funding. What do we find out with the Sierra Leone operation? With the first lady under Ernest Koroma, and the fact that many of the programs undertaken we are done we are subsumed under ministries. For example, for the health campaign, you get organized in collaboration with Ministry of Health, Ministry of Social Welfare, okay? Or in other cases, direct support as an NGO, non-governmental organization from UNFPA, for the most part, okay? If the SLPP people who are in possession of these records, and you can look at the transition report we write about, the government transition report, they did not say that because they have no evidence of that. This is not a defense for Ernest Koroma and your own group. We have written about this because I read and say, which have we been there during. Anybody who has been in Sierra Leone knows that we only for defend, we record of engaging APC on these same questions. In fact, some of these things were published by the very SLPP newspapers, Global Times 1. The Unity newspaper, party paper, publish all the entire what they talk about now, who will win the right against Ernest Koroma and talk about Ernest Koroma. You need for go ask if the first lady, current first lady, don't know that, may ask in SLPP journalists then. They want the way they pay right now for course week. Then the witnesses, some of them were even student journalists. The Americana press conference, the whole APC. So I am saying the first wife of a president forget a central bank account. Now, Madam Fatima Bio. That is the only record we have. If they have any other record to say the contrary, I am challenging them now. Publish it, bring it forward, and make sure when you're bringing it, bring the authentic record, because we have the banking record of Sierra Leone at least for the last 30 years.
Okay.
Where they illustrate how government does not spend money. So when we talk about comparison, I can also tell you how much money Madabio has spent in these 30 months compared to the previous president, not just with Ernest Koroma. I would like to go back to Tijan Kaba and talk about, because it's SLPP. Okay, I've seen that record because it took us 14 months to do this work. So when they go on social media, they write down a small one-line writing. Basically, we have not even touched the record of the corruption of this regime. So these are the things I want to talk about. When they talk about the use of public funds, ceremonial position. That's what. If we move from the unprecedented access to this huge amount of money from the public budget, from the national treasury, I will also tell you that the examination, the records and evidence in front of who we don't research, much of this money that we're talking about was not used by the First Lady in the ways that they even reporting it.
Okay, all are they small, Mr. Bahana. That will be the next part.
I will also provide you evidence for sure. Say much of this money has been taken out of the country.
Right.
That's what is annoying.
All are they small, Mr. Bahana.
I try to defend this state organized theft of public money. It's annoying.
All are they small. Like Mr. Dugbabuan for interject quick. Then we will come. That my next phase. What the monies were spent for. Now that will get for ask you next. Hello, elaborate on that. But Mr. Dugba, go quickly, please.
I'll be one for interject with the statement Mr. Bar making in regards to Sia Kromas as First Lady when she was there. In her position, what sort of funds she has available to work within the project the way they want. One of which now the HIV and AIDS campaign.
Mm-hmm.
I was forcibly witness to one particular project with and subcontract with for not from the First Lady's office, former First Lady's office, but directly from HIV and AIDS office, where me and one of them vendors then will be provide services for them in terms of doing their documentaries. So we had an opportunity for go and talk to do a couple of interviews, but it was a direct link to HIV and AIDS Secretariat.
So it's like, but because they're just using platform because it's status, but now HIV and AIDS, now they commission the work.
That's
and
it.
Use have no money.
Right. And specifically, she made a specific statement that was on record to say, I don't have money.
Yeah.
All my projects is funded by UNFPA. I don't have money to do my own self-projects. And I'm looking at this woman like, are you serious? And now when Mr. Badon talk, it gives me the reflection to go back to that particular statement on that day when she categorically made it clear, I don't have money. I'm only been doing this project because I'm funded by UNFPA.
Right.
And guess what? Not so in call we for do the job. The job was given to us by HIV and AIDS Secretariat.
Yeah.
And then I was doing work for almost all the NGOs in Sierra Leone. HIV and AIDS was one, Maristop is another, UNFPA is another, Child Fund is another. So I was like the pioneer hub of documentaries and filmmaking within all those NGOs. So I get to see all those people, I get to see where all this money is coming from, but I only take my own share of what is being given to me as my pay for the job that I was doing. So I totally agree with what Mr. Bai is saying to say the former First Lady was not really having any form of account from the Bank of Sierra Leone directly, because if she does, then she will be doing those projects on her own. I don't think she'll be waiting for projects to come across to her and then she just endorse it because of her office.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Bawe. Mr. Duba, of course, don't highlight, from a practical point of view, waiting you've been expressed earlier. Let me come now to what these funds were used for, because Madam First Lady Fatima Jabibio say he implements government programs, take them for buy lipstick, e no take am for buy bag, e no take am for buy hair, e no take am for buy clothes, meaning that e no spend am on himself and him family. He say he spend am on government project. So tell we wetin are una own findings.
Well, in the first place, this na the same person wey be say he no receive 1 penny from government for anything wey they do. Now they raise the money on your own and all that. So then they go further for talk say, and what you talk about intended purpose. There's one reference where you say you can get, I don't know, 32 or 36 guests.
Yeah.
With salon. But this testimony from the First Lady came only after the publication of the Africanist Press highlighting the illegal disbursement of these billions and billions in 30 months, at least from the CRF, about 30 billion loans, or close to 30 billion loans, 29 billion, some hundreds. When we examine the expenditure records of the First Lady, including the withdrawals from the bank, from the First Lady in bank statement, for example, you find that you begin look within, if a procedures of withdrawal are supposed to be for the use of public funds, but you see in certain cases, Sheikh Salim Feka go na bank today, he go take 300 million cash withdrawal. The following day, one other individual, Musufino or whatever name did it, he go back to the same bank, he collect 120 million. The other day, Sheikh Salim Feka go again, he collect 200 million cash. So you begin, this start like, and your own bank accounts, you know they do withdrawals that way. So this is pretty much the pattern of withdrawals when it comes to the cash, volume of cash withdrawals alone. It's unbelievable. Then you left it now, you can't begin look at monies wired, transferred straight from that account into the accounts of business like AA enterprises. You see 50-something billion, 50-something million to AA enterprises. Why? You see that they make the things lesser than 60 billion, because by the time you go 60 billion, now you begin to talk about the issue of sole sourcing, disbursement. So they craft them to make sure, say, 60 billion.
60 million.
Yeah, 60 million, then they make sure, say, it reach like 59.6 for me. So these people, in one of the interviews now, yeah, I talk about how these people develop advanced mathematical methods in their operation to loot the national treasury. And that's an example. If you want to know this, we published the 2018 bank statement only for now. We get up to now, but we just published no more the 2018 for illustrate the kind of evidence we will talk about. You just need to go to the Africanist Press website, click on it, and look at this thing. Go buy furniture, for example, to AA enterprises for the same day on the 4th of August. You buy 59,900,000. You buy again the same one, 58,900,000. The same time again. These are all three transactions to the same company, all fall below 60 million. Why? Because if you go to the 60 million, then you can't just say there is a law or rule governing that particular size or amount.
So forbid the system.
Forbid the system. They put it at the touchline, like when you play football, you carry with the ball at the touchline.
So you know how they go through.
Yeah, you know how they go through. But basically, what am I saying is that these monies were used in ways that were not in conformity with the public finance laws of the country. The 2016 Public Finance Management Act talk about how you do advertisement for companies, but all the companies are where them buy furniture to, where them buy petrol to, like them buy enterprises. There is no evidence of bidding. There is no evidence of tender. There is no evidence of the rules governing the use of public funds are not there. And not only that, 85% of this money was used on furniture. And when you look at the banks, you find out, say, you buy furniture over 600 million in 2018. You buy the same amount of furniture or more during 2019. You buy the same amount of furniture again. So what are you furnishing?
So every year then they buy furniture?
Every year you buy furniture. Wow. Then when you look at the bank statement in 2018, you find out that towards the end of 2018, they paid
about 11,000 some 100 liters of petrol. For 2019, petrol will not use it in 2018. So they buy the same 2019 again, 2 months again, then pay for the same amount again for the same fuel. So the question is,
Tibai not for them. I see Tibai one for them, one collapse.
No, how did you select? These are not jokes. These are very serious matters because it deals with a question of loot. The question then is, did you buy the furniture? How did you arrive at the point of buying repeatedly every year, every month, furniture from a single company? And so we went further. Now I explain, now say now how we look at it. When we look at this irregular pattern, of use of public funds, still not supported by law, we also said, no, there must be some kind of a connection between these business people and this office of the First Lady. And indeed, there is a close collaboration between these business organizations and this First Lady's office for the transfer, what we look at now, what we call international illicit financial flows, okay? The process through which political actors, state officials, they loot country and transfer the money out of the country bypassing the legal channels. So, for example, you go give 1 billion loans in furniture, where we say, really, what do you need now? 50 million furniture. So the balance money, this company now going to wire for you out of the country to a different destination. So when the money gets there, you use soda soap, you wash and you turn it into real estate. So these outflows. So now what we do right now, a process through which we are identifying and showing the people of Sierra Leone how public officials, including the wife of the president, and other senior officials in this government, have been engaged in a systematic, sophisticated process of looting the national treasury through international travel, through these fictitious disbursement, and pretending that they are using public funds without regard for law, they have no regard for law and the rules. So then they do this, because if you do wire transfer from the Bank of Sierra Leone or any other commercial bank to other different destination, the record is there. But now when you go remove the money cash, you send Musa Jadwa or Mohammed S. Bayo or Sheikh Salim Feka for go take 400 million, 500 million a bank. You come, you say don't go pay that money there to AA Enterprises, then take receipt, then give you. There's no way they can show that you have transferred. Then AA Enterprises take the money for you, put it on your account and send and go Lebanon. Then we get to Lebanon and take it from your account, put it on your account in Lebanon. Nobody will be able to trace it. Okay, but the work we have done over the last 14 months is to identify these webs, these cobwebs of illicit financial flows. And now we're showing, basically, with these articles we don't publish, now how the money they left from the center, but the channels where they come out. And the destination, the conduits, like these business organizations, all you know, they are the conduits of this transfer of these flows where they go out of the country. So it's an international financial operation that is run on behalf or in tandem or in collaboration with these gangster business people, corporate gangsters as I call them, and these rogue politicians and their political actors looting the national treasury, working in association with these rogue businessmen, transferring wealth outside of the country, and then take this money, put on their own, they get a cut of it, take the money, put on bank accounts, and from there they wire it, some of it to Gambia, some of it to other, some of it to Gabon, some of it. So you see, when you look at the records, both the travel record of the president, the travel record of the first lady, the travel record of the senior cabinet officials and all this, and the financial operation, how they've been using their interest accounts. All you see is this massive scale of loot. That's unbelievable. So this for me, I am shocked by it, because you see the public performance of somebody who is coming out and saying he's chasing corrupt people, he is closing leakages, he is fighting against graft, and they make all this noise, this dance, this public dance. And then beneath that public dance is this organized web of the transfer of the national resources. So the dynamic will say this struggle to expose the regime is not just a question of exposing corruption within the government, but for rescue and for save the national treasury of Sierra Leone that's been emptied. Completely. You see the banks, how can you have 10 million leones in your bank? You go for go take they say no, you go for go take 1 million, they say no, 500,000 they give you. Even that 500,000, they have to find old, smelly 1,000 leones notes because the money has been turned into a foreign currencies, pound sterlings, dollars, and they've been shipped like that out of the country by people who have no money in the banks. Okay, they're just looting the country. So that is the cause of the liquidity crisis. We don't see this, they come. And that is why we started pointing it out since March 1, at least last year. We'll publish the use of the payroll as an effort for loot the money. How public officials, some of these consultants that have paid $400 or $500, so we don't begin highlighting here, up to the devaluation of exports. We say they high taxes, that money they went to go take from timber, pass them at different destinations, keep outside the country. So what we are looking at is one of what I call a massive scale of theft that is unimaginable, unbelievable, especially at a time when the government pretends they're fighting corruption. For me, that is what I find shocking. That is what I find so abhorring to the extent that the people of Sierra Leone need for notice. And it will be, this is why you see that people are vexed and they're angry, because they never imagined with their innovative skill of theft, how they don't develop this skillful method of stealing and they don't hide public expenditure into a single account that only few people, the president and his cronies and his wife, and they only get access to them. And they create this distraction. They insult people and make dance, make this, that way for distract the public attention. So they get us to talk about meaningless things when underneath they hide and they at the backyard and they smuggle the money out of the country. So we are looking at money trafficking, a simple word, because I say illicit financial flows. So they're too big, but then they traffic the money out of the country inside bag and suitcase there. And then they use them businessman there. When they party them, they say they buy in the hand, give them the money, then they ship the money out of the country. That's what is happening. And we are going to show this.
You they say that the Africanist Press get evidence, just like I've been promising you get for Camna also for sure, that una get evidence for confirm, say the money we come out from the consolidated funds for allegedly programs and services for the people of Sierra Leone is being shipped out of the country to external destinations.
We don't already highlight that one. In the first place, you come to this Lebanon article, the president go emergency undercover, go hide in Lebanon. People begin wonder, who said the president? All this people they ask question. Where is our president? Is the government press release say this president is going on a bilateral visit, private visit. He go make bilateral relations. When he reach Lebanon, he go underground. There were rumors that he's sick and all that. All of a sudden, his wife published photographs of them supposedly on a touristic visit, and he claims that they were doing a honeymoon at the time when the entire globe, the world, is faced with a global health crisis. So, but we knew what it was all about because we knew the day when they transferred the money from the central bank to Davis and Dan for hire the plane, we got the message that this has happened. And now they hired this aircraft. The president went and took $410,000 cash from the central bank. Okay? And then they spent over $200,000 just on air charter.
So now charter the plane, not to the
plane directly. In fact, they buy the money directly from this company, from central bank, first one way, about $120,000 or so. We don't publish this. Then when the plane come, a day before the travel, he withdraw $410,000 cash. Okay? Then put this, the president go on a health care for health visit. Then after that, after some weeks, they also came back and took. In fact, that one then the president will fly into the country silently and come and take $67,000 cash and go with her again to Lebanon. So in total, what we're talking cash no more. What we have evidence of from the central bank alone was close to $500,000 cash.
How much is that in leons?
That in 5 billion.
5 billion leons.
5 billion leons. So basically, the entire Lebanon trip, it cost the people of Sierra Leone over $1 million. Including putting them pay for air charter. Then now, the record where the president would say, they go for healthcare. So we did our investigation to find out exactly Because you can get this report when they say the president, the cabinet ambulance, this and that. The later we say no, they've been there on honeymoon. And he came back and said he was not. He said the press they wish him bad. People are getting that for him. They want to make he die. This and they say old soldier never died. The very day we can't done, the following day, night whole press conference, he announced a white paper. Say they can't hold people and for where they don't thief. Where you have taken on president, we look at bank record for the last 20 years. No president has withdrawn in a single transaction over $400,000 cash. So this is the thing that happened. You go with that money in Lebanon. On in return from a day after we can, they return $12,000 in a bank. Saying that the money that we left. Remember, you can go 400 over nearly 500,000. You return with 12,000. They go put on. 5 days later, they send Musa Jajwa for go withdraw from the bank, the equivalent of $20,000, 200 million leones from the same account. So which means you return it pretends they don't return the 12,000. They go take 8,000 more, it be 20,000. This is not something I'm making up. We have published the bank statement on the Africanist Press website. So we look at the corresponding letters the way they write, when they're ready for go. The secretary to the president, they write to the Accountant General's department, say the president want travel. What did they happen? So they wire straight. 5 billion straight into the president's account. I mean 10 billion into the president's account, and $1 million straight. Put me way ready for travel. And then the following day, they wire straight money to Davis and Dan for hire this aircraft. So basically, the question is, what happened to the $500,000 cash that he took to Lebanon?
That was my question. But it's in our medical bill, he go pay.
It claims in a medical bill. We have done our investigation in Lebanon. We have seen no evidence of the president or his wife or any member of his entourage having paid a medical bill in Lebanon. There's none, except if they then get it secretly, let them provide it. Then we will know. But without they go healthcare, how can a president travel with that kind of money? If now healthcare, he will say, okay, a president is entitled to healthcare. If he's sick, all he needs to make it known that he's sick. But even at that, in this age, they have bank-to-bank transfer they do. How you go take $500,000, $400,000, $410,000 go for healthcare as if you already know what your healthcare is going to cost?
Okay, hold on, Mr. Ba.
So basically what we are saying is that money was left in Lebanon. We knew that. And with time, we bring this evidence. Last time we were on this show, before we close the year, I talk say the first part of the Africanist Press agenda was to demonstrate to the people of Sierra Leone that this talk about Mada Bio being committed to ending graft, to fighting corruption, was a facade, was just a public performance, that there was massive corruption going on under the administration, under the watchful eye of the president, and he's a participant, leading participant in that corruption. Now that will be the show beginning March 1. We publish all these details. They were denying it. We come to the question of the timber, till the audit report confirmed that. So when I come at the Sarah James show before we close the year, I promised the people that in the new year, we will begin to show bank transaction details, showing exactly the actors and the kind of operation to which they are engaging in looting of the treasury. That's what we've started showing, the outflows. Then when we finish for show all within the government, department by department, agency by agency, individual by individual actor, how they don't use international travel for smuggle money out of the country. Then we also show that they keep their money there. Yeah. Why? Because it is important for the people of Sierra Leone to know this information. Because when these people, this is not the first, in the case of Madabio, this is not the first time this situation happened. When in the days of the NPRC, they did the same thing. And much of that money that was taken under the NPRC regime was lost by them. In fact, they lost the money and the country lost. So in this time now, we need to map out these outflows and their destinations and what they have been done with, so that we were able to know in future how for able to recall or make some kind of international campaign for the international community help for return some of this stolen wealth back to the country if they cannot return it. That is why, I think, so this is the work we they do. Not over just right now say that the thief money, because if this money go out of the corner, we country money, the money that we use for pay lecture. Look now, lecturers have been struggling to have better condition of service and pay, reasonable increase in their pay. The government, they say no money for beer, money, no the whole discussion about money, no the idea that the previous regime has looted the treasury and all of that. So now we have this situation where billions and billions and millions of dollars are being looted on a daily and regular basis by a government that is pretending to fight corruption. We have to make the people aware of this kind of situation, because the burden get for the on we and future generations for try for reclaim or fight for all of this wealth. So we have to...
I want you pause a little bit late in Kwatala, come to T-Boy, quick. T-Boy, on mute, please. We don't hear it, but some of these things, we might be smiling about it, or some people go on for trivialize them, but it's very serious. And the president self acknowledged, say, corruption, now the biggest issue we get as alone, and where they kill, it's a killer, it's a national security threat to the country of Sierra Leone. But what you done this is like the only corruption they're talking about is the corruption of the past and not of the present. This thing about Lebanon, T-Boy, $500,000 for the president. Let's accept, say, a medical bill. But $500,000 for the president in medical bill, it pains me because a few weeks ago and up until today, we don't know the status of that public servant, a medical doctor, a lady, way sick. All she needs is $45,000 to go to India. 45,000. I don't know. I should say you see the article, right? Where people they beg around, they ask for this lady, let we help her. But we have a president going to Lebanon. Anyway, it's a little bit touching. Come on, T-Boy, go ahead.
I hear you. My defense to that to me is simple. One, yes, the president have the right to have an exclusive medical treatment if so deserve it. Yeah?
Correct. For $500,000.
Well, we don't know the nature of the illness, except if it is something beyond our own imagination, but that is not what my concern is. My concern here is, just like Mr. Barr said, when the president is flying out of the country to go for medical treatment, we have better nations that are qualified to perform any form, any kind of surgery or medical attention. You have the United Kingdom, you have Germany, you have the United States of America. Where else would you call? Possibly India, China, or the rest. Lebanon is one of the most deprived countries in the Middle East. They are torn with war. Even before the president left for India, they had a serious disaster.
For Lebanon.
I mean, for Lebanon, sorry.
Yeah, they get a crisis. Yeah.
They have serious crisis in Lebanon. And before the president even left for Lebanon, there was disaster there, right? Just about a week or two before we knew he was in Lebanon. So I am not disputing all of this, but my concern is, why would you want to go to Lebanon for medical treatment when you have better places in the world that you can go for medical treatment that are far more better than Lebanon? But not saying that. The amount of money being allocated for that particular treatment is prior to the treatment possibly being known by the people who are meant to be looking after the affairs of the president or otherwise. But I wish I was a president, so at least my medical bill would be that much money every year.
I work in the medical field. I'll tell you, $500,000 treatment, not so like we the all for go buy medicine na Boots the chemist.
No.
Okay? Then I tell you that for free. I worked in the health sector.
I will even say it's not a life-saving money. It's more than that.
Yeah, but don't forget that first for one bit. So if we can afford that for the president, he will just go to a bank and say, all right. But we cannot afford that for a medical doctor. We don't serve salary, we possibly in salary now $100 or at most $500. Let us be generous, say in salary now $1,000 a month. But she needed $45,000. People get for come and do GoFundMe for we able for raise that money for them. If even we don't able to raise them for them, it's really sad. But the other part of this whole thing, why the deception? Like you say, the president na in right for do a health check because we need them for be fit for rule the country. Because forget 7 million people and problem now you aid, not a small problem. Get sleepless night, a lot of things them. I understand that. So now in right. But why the deception? Why firstly we say the official press release say the president go on a bilateral relations tour or visit that between he and the government of Lebanon, meaning saying that they invite him or in go there, because that conversation therefore brings something for the people of Sierra Leone. It did not bring anything. Then we are saying a honeymoon then go. So does it mean part of the $1 million spent was for honeymoon? Whilst we're in the middle of COVID, we'll not be even get test kits. Everybody was panicking. You don't know what thing they happen next. You get people living at frontline workers, the way they not pay money. That's another part. Then we only able for know about saying a medical bill, not officially, but from the Africanist Press and publication. So the government still, they lie to the people of Sierra Leone. And that makes it illegal. Whatever way you have for Sierra, because if you lie under oath for anything, when you take oath, not so just that day the way you swear the oath, you take that oath for as long as you are in office. So deception is lying. And when you lie to the people of Sierra Leone, then they give you question mark.
But what was the statement from the press, from the press office of the president?
They say then go on bilateral relations for go visit Lebanon for talk to the government. We don't know for waiting.
So okay, was it officially announced or before? Now we all
before then go.
Okay.
So that was but then when they reach Lebanon, the first lady in your publication privately saying a honeymoon then go. So whose story should we believe?
Well, that's another day discussion. But for just go do a quick recap on my own jottings that I was taking earlier on. Few questions then come with specifically directed to Mr. Ba. And then my concern is the amount of money being transacted out of Sierra Leone banks has raised a lot of eyebrows to the international money transfer system, like a MoneyGram, PayPal, and the rest. We currently, Salon not officially gets the right for open any PayPal account within Sierra Leone. That's one. And two, majority of the money transfer system that we know in the UK are under serious scrutiny. I don't know why, but if you go for Go Transfer, and I think about 5, 6, 7, 8 months ago to mid last year, you can transfer as much as 20,000, 30,000 pounds cash in money transaction to Sierra Leone. And it's really amazing. Where is that money coming from? How can a man sit down in London actually giving you 40,000 pounds worth of cash in Sierra Leone and he doesn't even live there? Where you get the Bank of Sierra Leone, the struggle for the bankers, they really bank their money, the amount of money where they want for withdrawing are just 1 or 2 million. That's one. Two, Mr. Bado mentioned a lot of Musa Jajwa. If Musa Jajwa is totally an innocent man, and you've been mentioned like 5, 6, 7 times in monetary transfer, in a situation like this, who is Musa Jajwa, as far as I'm concerned? Why would he have access to make withdrawals of such amount of money from the Bank of Sierra Leone and nobody's asking you no question? Yeah? And the other question, one of the viewers then say, how come Sierra Leone actually make the MCC report if all of these issues are of concern?
All right.
That's one. And the second question is, the other viewer say, Mika asked Mr. Ba, what he expects from all this, from the government, from the people, and from the civil societies of Sierra Leone.
Okay.
I will bring in further questions as they come in, but those are the 2 specific questions so far. We come directly from Mr. Ba.
Mr. Ba, over to you.
Yes, I think very crucial for address this question of how the country pass and become eligible for MCC, because you see, these are the things they see for the most part. The politicians in power, including even the wife of the president, they make this you know, I think now refer to as bad talk. After all, we don't write all that. It didn't matter if you pass the MCC or if we spend this amount of, what did it take for spend $3 million, and we get $400 million, and then are free money. You know, these are the deception, the very deceptive approach. But make us come to this point. For a very long time now, since this government came to power, the facade around fighting corruption, their idea of what is corruption is basically the financial operations or supposed, the thing that will not happen during the days of Ernest Koroma, the 10 years preceding their coming to power, and then consider as what has happened was the corruption, the GTT report. In fact, the president of the country went round the country, both nationally and internationally, on a tour. He called his political opponents Anyampi. He said, they're Anyampi then they would say, we all know there was corruption under Ernest Koroma. And I have said, because of this noise, we're not able to see the corruption where they happen under Mother, because all what they've bombarded the people is their own propaganda, the state's narrative, the narrative of the BO administration, the power regime, their narrative that corruption is only what happened under APC. In fact, when you want to begin to talk about what did happen now, they will say, well, you're not APC, which means you have no right to speak because you were supposedly a beneficiary or a participant in the past corruption, in the corruption of the past regime. So you don't use that they permanently for slander everybody, for blackmail everybody into silence. Okay? So that in a way cripple the opposition at the country, both the APC, when I talk about opposition, I mean opposition writ large, APC, NGC, all these other groups then. So everybody almost allowed the propaganda of the state for take over the country. Those individuals who were few, who they could not carry along, they have been compromised. They either bribe them, okay? And now you get this passive amnesia that the country, who say civil society actors, people who are supposedly active in the past, are now almost laundering the image of the current regime because they have their own vested interest in it. So make us say this, when I look at the financial record, the record of the Minister of Finance, I say openly because we haven't gotten to that, because I think it's very important. I look at the financial record of the Minister of Finance, I will tell you that on top of my head, as I close my eyes, I see 20 of we civil society activists and 20 of some of we journalists them, who we know, we get direct pay from the Minister of Finance. We have the records. And what we plan for do now for make this, we're going to get a special publication on the media and civil society. So one the way don't begin at say, I'm going to publish records of how much money you have received, including the amount of money that was spent on the media retreat. Okay? The government pretends that they are friendly to the media. They have gotten rid of the Public Order Act. They have given subvention to Sludge and all of that. But what it tells you is state capture of the media. And we will expose this by showing, for example, how much money they spent in organizing a media retreat to talk about so-called challenges and successes of the new direction. Where, okay, this is now a way for quieting the private press. So the state, they use two methods of quieting the private press. One, by thinking that if you, a journalist, support the government that's in power, you are going to be made a press officer, a press attaché. Okay? If you, an academic, within an academic staff association, or within a civil society organization, the only way you will get to survival now is if you will be a supporter of the current situation. So you get consultancy, you get small advertisement for your newspaper, so the state, the thief government money, politicians, the thief government money, they share a crumb of it, a small percentage of it with the so-called civil society movement, civil society activists, and their agents in the private media. So some of these journalists, they pretend they are independent, and that's why you see they are so angry with the Africanist Press. Some of them don't even call me politician. They say me a politician, me a propagandist, I lie with the lie. So you find out the private press, members of the so-called private press, that they attack we, who they publish, instead of they celebrate because why? The situation is making it difficult for them. One, they are on the payroll of the regime. Second, they cannot defend the regime with the kind of information that we are putting forward. So the best they can do is to attempt to attack me personally. So for say, oh, you're a politician, you will not become active in political parties, you'll never be a journalist. And some of these guys who are saying this, they are toddlers in the media, I will call them. Okay, people, when we start for right, you are still in high school. Okay, and when they say that kind of situation, it comes out from the basis of ignorance, because you don't know the history of the press. You don't know how the press, the role where journalists don't play in the history of Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone, I can't get which press history, media history. But these people calling themselves journalists who have gone to the media school, who are now out attacking some of the things that we do, then they have no knowledge of the history of the country. They have no knowledge of the history of the press. That is what it tells me. So when I read them today, I close my eyes, I pity them. But why? Again, I understand with them, because the society is so poor. So these people, most of them, we are going to publish in the Africanist evidence of some of the people who have received money, 50 million, 30 million, 35 million from the Minister of Finance, some of them from the impressed account of the Chief Minister. Now. We have those details. So when I look at these agents of the state in the media, I laugh most times, because when they do that, I just go open the records and look and say, why? Look
so you can say the fourth estate.
So when these international people, they go for assess a country, because the government they spend money in national public relations, international public relations, I've even seen records of money wired straight from the chief minister account into news agencies and news outlets outside of Sierra Leone for London and image. I can name those individuals. We have the records. We're going to publish this. So this is the reason why the image of what is happening, the killing of prisoners, the mass human rights violations, the draconian nature of the regime, its repressive character has not gone out, because they are spending money into the private media, buying off critical voices. So when these international people visit the country for 1 week, they pick them up from the airport, put them in tinted vehicles. They don't even see the potholes. Okay, they fly them into an air-conditioned hotel, Bintumani Hotel. They stay in 2 days. They meet with the president. Then they will say they want to meet with the civil society. Then go bring their own ethnic supporters or party supporters in so-called civil society. They interview them. These are the people in the payroll who are pretending to be activists. Okay, then they interview a small sector of the private press. Then these people, international, form the opinion that, the corruption is being fought. So that is why you see they're angry with the kind of work that the Africanist Press is doing, because it does not only expose the regime, it makes it difficult for these agents of the corrupt politicians in the private media and the so-called civil society movement, because they are uneasy. It makes it hard for them. So now they all the time offend this trash thing we don't want to talk about. Chernoh Alpha to journalists, na politician, na this, na propagandist, na lie. They get this lie statement where they say, in a lie like Chernoh Alpha. So they haven't even pointed to this lie. So I understand your frustration. I understand why they do so. So if you ask me why the country make the leap out of, they will make these indices of reports and anything, now because we have to do a critique of the media, Nasalon. The people of Sierra Leone need for hold the media accountable. They need for investigate. And this is a challenge I'm throwing to you, my friends and colleagues and brothers and sisters in the media. You know what I'm talking about. Not everyone is involved in this. Few people. We're very crucial in days. And I know how uneasy they've become. And I sympathize with them. But at the same time, I also understand, say, the country card number one.
So what's the
paycheck as against the interest of the country? You got to decide who's you tap. So that's what I'm saying. So this is how the crimes of the BO regime have not come out, because the narrative of the state has predominantly, become the predominant narrative. So what the Africanist Press has been trying to do is to undercut the legitimacy of the state's narrative, because a false narrative. Okay, and they've been able to succeed with that narrative because they've been paying money into private journalists, so people are waiting at the private press for being their own propagandists. They don't even wire money there to journalists that we know outside of the country for international public relations. So they're spending more money on national public relations. That is what this whole media retreat is about. This whole press dinner is all about. Okay, this is part of the image laundering. When this corruption is happening, nobody is talking about it. So we can forget to this. I think we owe the people of Sierra Leone the responsibility for educate them on who actually stands for the people and who doesn't. So people will be able to make these clear connections between the silence of the media in this kind of, in the face of this colossal theft of national resources, the emptying of national treasury, and why supposedly the civil society has become passive. Corruption is not just in the past. I have said we can fight corruption by engaging it in its present continuous tense. It's a living organism. It's ongoing. It's carried out by state officials who are in power, and they know it.
So, Mr. Barr, now you don't. So it's not just the state, not just private companies, winner businesses. Now you highlight, say, the press. Some people, section of the press, are accomplices as well, or collaborators, and then civil society organizations. What do you think is responsible for this?
Well, it comes down to poverty in different fashion, in different ways. For example, now you look at Frobe College, now take the University of Sierra Leone as an example, where for several months or over a year now, the academics in our universities have been struggling for increase in wages. Okay, you get a university professor where they receive a salary that is less than or at least $2,000. Then now you get the nutritionist of the cameraman of the president. The current cameraman of the president at State House receives 21 million leones, which is more than the salary of a university professor. So what that means is that if the nutritionist of the president is making more salary than professionals in the academy, people will naturally think that the only way out, the only way to a better paying job, the only way to a good salary, to better condition of service is by becoming engaged in this predatory politics, predatory party politics, where the state becomes the avenue for survival. Okay, so you find out increasingly that people left the academy for going to public service, because that is the only place where they think they have the opportunity of stealing public money, having access to loot. So that's not the situation. The state is now the only means of survival, and is a racketeering means of survival. Is a predator, now like a jungle. Okay, this organized jungle, which people and your relationship with the state, your relationship with government, the individuals in power, and they determine which kind of salary you get. That's why you see consultants and all of this. So I think the collapse of moral values, now this don't lead to collapse of moral. People not care again about what we think about moral values, respect for rules and regulations. It's just about chasing wealth, loot. So no matter how you get the money, as long as you drive good car, you build some kind of ugly house, as long as, this situation of loot, it don't become an ingrained culture now. So everybody now, they look out for that kind of situation, how are connected. Like now, if you're not a journalist, you're doing at the private press, you don't see your colleague when I all come out college, when I all be in the struggle for get 200,000 leones, 100,000 leones, and now they don't make that person a press attaché. They don't give him a job. You don't get diplomatic passport. You don't get diplomatic status. You'll be making $3,000, $4,000 a month. So you dream of that kind of life, regardless of whether the regime in power is basically doing right or not. So now make it easy. People have all been there to already criticize corruption. Now they are against you because you are still standing on the same platform. When all been snapped. So you become their enemy. All of a sudden overnight, they forget their friendship. They are not tied to you. They are not tied. They don't believe in those things anymore because what they're defending. And all they are not also committed to the government's agenda. They are, like say, that the party, now they paycheck. Because they see that if the government crumbles down, if this government go away, it means they are out of that benefit. Okay, and this is true again for many of these people calling themselves doctors. That is why you see, say, in the first lady they talk, say, a job some of we want. Why? Because they think the only place you can work is through political appointment. That without political appointment, you don't get no job in a country. Okay.
Oh, that reminds me. The first lady say, you don't call, you don't get an open invitation. He say, Lona go make salon, Lona go work. Let you forgive salon bad press.
No. The point is, this is my own contribution. Me don't. I knew na Sierra Leone. It just this na 3 years. We not even up to 3 years from where Kana Salon they talk about waiting at this status. As first lady, she was never in Sierra Leone. We don't do it with whole life. We don't contribute. We don't begin right about government. That I don't remember for Big Mother Bureau as as a future husband. I don't think she was even dreaming of that. When Tijakaba did a power of the right, and she met Madabio perhaps after the elections of 2012. So he met Madabio again as a student in London. so you see, but this comes to, I think, there's a serious point here who we need to emphasize. Why people not get value for some of the things, national value. For example, you see academics, people who say they did their PhDs, they failed, people who don't study, not able to contribute anything in the academy, they don't produce knowledge, nothing. So they also feel that the only way to survive is the state. So you have these people with PhDs who have done nothing in the academy and even outside of the academy. Now then one they are now the people they part of the way the advisors, the consultants in these kinds of administration. That is why you will see somebody without a degree who say people who get PhD are stupid. Okay, because they have no value. They devalorize education. They have no value for education. That is why they will not even, they will loot public money, $1 million. They will spend $500,000 in 1 month, but they cannot think about increasing professors' salaries, lecturers' and salaries, because they have no value for those things. Things that will matter for the development of a country. Because to them, that's why you will see somebody who look you as somebody engaged in other endeavor. They produce knowledge or engage in knowledge production, who think say, they do nothing, because to them, they think say the state, the only avenue for employment, the only avenue for a good job. That's why somebody will say, a job you want, where you criticize government's bad policy. In other parts of the world where people are engaged, they understand the knowledge production, a part of the development of a country, then we even look at an academic and say, somebody with a terminal degree in a particular field, not full man. I mean, not only mediocres, they think that way.
But that's contradicts what the president said, because the manifesto is, for add value to education.
The national values, we therefore reconstruct the country. You don't understand? A complete overhaul. If you ask me what will lead to this kind of situation, it's too many. It's so complex. But it comes down to this situation, which the state don't become the avenue for loot public money, the only source of survival. Party politics has become the only means to rogue paychecks, salaries that are developed as compensation mechanisms through which people go fight for power, when they get power, then devise the new salaries, get 30 million, 40 million. How will you justify paying a consultant $400, $500 in a country like Sierra Leone a day? Wow. When professors and other people, civil servants, when a senior economist in the Ministry of Finance, for example, they get less than 2 million leones, and they pay the people who are closer to the president because of their relationship to the presidency. They get 20, 30 million, 40 million, 50 million a month. So these are crazy things. So we have to fix it from that point. This is why the question of salaries are very key. The harmonization of the public payroll. If you pay a professor the same salary they pay a minister, okay, for example, you don't go see anybody that left the academy that willingly will just go into becoming a minister, because if they find out, say, support anything way bad. There are many people in this government who are opposed to what is happening. They know something that happened wrong. They are defending it not because they believe in it. They are defending it because they're defending their paycheck. So we have to have a situation where people will understand that there's another way of life outside of this predatory politics, means of survival. But many of these people, if you kick them out of public office, they're done. They're done. They have nothing else that they can do where they bring to them means of, and they live a life again that is not commensurate.
Mr. Ba,
it's really a problem.
Let me ask you, how the Africanist Press and yourself, they able to get all the information, but the statutory organizations or institutions like the Anti-Corruption Commission, the AFC, the Economic Financial Crime Unit, not able to get the information, so where they get?
I believe they get. It raises the question of whether our institution, law enforcement institutions, are independent. That in itself is wrong. If anti-corruption, they able to arrest teachers and where they hide inside bush for thief question paper and sell them to students, they able to arrest them. Then they go inside private home and get intel and get a Scorpion squad where they give them intelligence on school picking Nakisi and 2 teachers in Nakisi. We don't hide inside one small pan body. Now it's long. We say ordinarily they know they're able for no such people and they live there and go catch people away the thief question paper. I mean, there's no way you could not see or have access to a banking transaction because for every particular amount of they get the threshold. I mean, any amount of more than 10. The Bank of Salone get this regulation, so you're not for withdraw more than $10,000.
Yeah, and apart from that, every banking institution they do their returns every day of how much money they come in and how much money.
The financial intelligence unit, they capture every transaction where it passes a particular threshold.
Right.
So and these are being reported. Even the FIU, they engage some of the public officials. They write to them. Oh, when a bank or write to the banks, this bank no report. For example, we see $30 million don't enter this person account, politically exposed person, and you did not report it. We see $300 million don't go to this person account or has been withdrawn. You know, reported it's an irregular transaction. So you have this. We have these piles of documents from FIU they see every day, written to banks and public officials and regarding irregular transfers. But then because these individuals are working for the presidency and the higher senior officials in administration, it just takes a phone call from State House. Hey, that is still a drop out, we're not interested. Then they go hold 2 teachers that will sell 1 question paper, 1 million, and can't parry that cotton tree for pretend say they fight corruption. So there has been a lot of facade pretense. That's why I said previously, the real test to the ACC, the current ACC leadership, now if they're able to take on the people in the current administration, and they haven't done it. The only people that don't take a lower ranking people away, like for example, they've been shouting about EDSA. Then they say EDSA people are not thief so. But the real theft of the EDSA funds has to do with the higher leadership of the Ministry of Energy. We saw them going at the Bow Power situation where the direct corruption will involve the ministry officials, where these contracts are signed, money that was supposed to be paid for fuel, we are not paid. They know the whole senior people and the junior people the way they sell, the way they divert money from meters. These are the people they are arresting. And they do these things because they know this massive scale of corruption not take place will involve the higher echelons. So they make like say we don't report corruption at EDSA because they know people are now investigating these things. So they go ahead. For example, when we started investigating the travel record of the president, they know straight. So last year, you see the Minister of Finance published supposed statistics about how much money the president did not spend in overseas and local travel of the presidency. We're almost now 1/3 of the actual amount. But they did this because they knew we were investigating it. They don't get wind say with the investigator. So now they want to come ahead and provide statistics. So when the discussion comes up, all they will say, oh, we did not take action on that long since. So they've been doing that. So this, we get to understand, say, with law enforcement mechanisms, the law enforcement institutions are not independent. And this is problematic for democracy, where institutions are under the dictate of politicians in power. It is a problem because the question of institutional independence and all of these things, it affect the quality of governance in the country. So these are part of the structural challenges where we will therefore deal with.
Let's come to T-Boy quick. T-Boy, I know see you don't drunk already because the questions and comments just keeps flowing in. So over to you quick, and then I'll come. Therefore begin the round of small. Go ahead, Mr. T-Boy.
I just want to make one quick apologies to some members in the chat group women they use abusive language, and I don't follow up them, comment them, and they've been totally banned from Sierra Leone media platform.
Yeah, I don't ban a couple of few of them as well.
Yeah, so, and I will make them also clear, if we go through the chats then back again for the second time for look at what has gone through the chats, if we miss you, say you have said something that is not really what we want to accommodate on our platform, we will still ban or delete you from our platform. Our platform is open to everybody, regardless of your political position, political affiliation, religious, tribe, or gender. You have the right to participate in anything that we're doing because it is concerning Sierra Leone. So don't feel like you're marginalized or you're ignored. As long as you're making the comment that is attacking the topic of discussions by not using abusive language. If you want evidence of what Mr. Ba is saying, go and check the Africanist Press website. We have all the evidence, or he has already produced all those evidences of his claims that he's making right now on this platform. And some of us have read those documents. But if anybody feels as if these documents are not genuine, counter them. It's able to counter attack in terms of bringing in evidence that can actually contradict what Mr. Ba is saying. So if you don't have any evidence to effect, if you have been accused or you have anything to defend whatever Mr. Ba has said, please feel free. You can still come on our platform and contradict what Mr. Ba is saying if you think what he's saying is not true.
Before you continue, Mr. Ba, Mr. Chernoh Alpha M, the editor of the Africanist Press, we don't get him at this platform multiple times. And one of the program where we do, we actually come with hard evidence they will be get for projects. We decide for do this one differently today because possibly there's a publication coming out, Mr. Ba. Mr. Ba.
Say the question again, please.
I just say the last time where we do a program here, we begin for show the hard evidence, but this time we do it differently, just forget a conversation because there's been a rebuttal from the office of the First Lady or the First Lady in self, and also I know say you get subsequent publication for come out, correct?
Oh yeah, this we're not done. We just start. Okay. We'll continue the publication, and like I say, this is an ongoing effort for hold governments accountable. We don't do
right.
So there will always, and obviously we will worry about people where there are always people who will
cast doubts,
but not to doubts. Basically, they are reacting because they are naturally affected by they are either beneficiaries of this situation. They support it for the ethnic frontiers in the country. We have to overcome those things, but. As I say at the beginning of this show, we ensure that whatever we publish is supported by first-hand primary evidence of some of these things, mostly or mainly government documents, direct records of government records. So you just see these things all since March last year to now. There has never been anything we've published.
And also, just for help you, Mr. Ba, from where the Africanist Press done, they publish, non-government officials not come out, and including the First Lady, not come out and refute, say, the publication wrong. All they try for do now for say they not do something illegal, but yes, all the publications correct. The leadway not come out and say it wrong. And I'll come to that at the end of the day. Before we end the program, I know I'll divert the conversation, but I'll go to T-Boy quick. T-Boy, over to you again.
So basically, what I have highlighted now, just those few things. But currently, the situation that we find ourselves in Sierra Leone is not unexpected. It is expected from very far margin of what we think of. But at the end of the day, we have to think about two things right now. One, Sierra Leone, not just the present Sierra Leone, but Sierra Leone within the next 5 to 10 years to come. So I don't feel say if we have any agenda to make Sierra Leone, it should be what we are thinking of now. We get from beginning projects with agenda for make Sierra Leone within the next 5 years or within the next 10 years. And I know that we rely on politicians for change Sierra Leone because as we don't see, we might struggle for me to get them for change Sierra Leone. So if we just rely on say, okay, let's change the political parties, let's change the political movements, let's go APC, let's go SLPP, I don't think that alone is enough to change Sierra Leone. Because some of we don't have any political alignment, like Mr. Ba, I don't think he does, whether it be done in an NDA. I want to ask her, what was your relationship with NDA? Because somebody mentioned something about you being a member of NDA and you were so upset, that's why you left and all that stuff. But anyway, that's another discussion. But what did I say for emphasize now? The fact say we have to think Sierra Leone beyond colors. We have to think Sierra Leone beyond tribal lines. We have to think Sierra Leone beyond gender. We have to think Sierra Leone beyond anything where we feel to say the compromise we're thinking beyond Sierra Leone. Some of us, we don't really, some of we been there in a position of being selfish, we'll be milking money right now. If we want to take political platforms. We will be making money then, we will be making money now. But some of us, we choose not to because we don't want to be compromised. Because what me stand for is what I believe in. And there are times when we all make mistakes. We're all humans. But we could just try for minimize the mistake they already make in life, because some of these mistakes they already make now at the detriment of people's livelihood, now at the detriment of people's life, people's education, people's health. And if you cannot give, don't take back. Don't take as much as you cannot give back to your society. Because we all claim say, and they go for go make salon, and they help for go make salon. We cannot do it as individuals. It has to be done collectively. And forget a collective force for change salon, no need any kind of political tag on them. It means every Sierra Leonean should be as patriotic as every American's way go die for the flag. How many Sierra Leoneans can die for the flag of Sierra Leone? Some might not even know the value of the flag. Some might not even know how to put the flag, whether the green for the up or for the down, whether it for the horizontal or vertical. But until we begin learning values there also of who that we be as Sierra Leoneans, so until we're able to be patriotic enough for say, salon for better, not to me for make the money for make salon better, not to me for be rich means salon better. It means we have to prepare the pathway for we generations then yet we unborn. We have a lost generation right now, because I would say 20 years generation of Sierra Leone that is currently living in Sierra Leone is a lost generation, because that generation did not go through any kind of developmental state in terms of their health, their education, their social livelihood, because we call them the war children. And still, some of them are so mentally tired that they're not even able to understand the concept of what it means to be free from the war that we've gone through. So that is an era we don't left. But some of what we are doing is not a witch hunt. It's nothing about, oh, now because of them, they say, oh, now do X, Y, Z. No. If people know who we are from where we started, it is not new. So basically, let's do things collectively. Mr. Ba is not a one-man army. We are not one-man army. We are not fighting any political cause. We just want to raise the profile of certain things that we will keep a blind eye to. And we can never be blind forever.
Right.
We cannot look at things happening and we say A is A, but no, we say A is Z. There is a margin between A to Z. And I feel say every Sierra Leonean can see the reality of past governments, can see the reality of this government, and we can even predict the reality of the next government, because we already know what's in the status quo. Are we going to toe the line of the status quo? Hell no. Some of us will not even dare go down that road. But if we integrity get for be questioned in so many different ways in life, I think some of us will be very happy to remain as we are and live a very comfortable life and have the freedom to move around, to say things, and even not looking at our shoulders, thinking something is going to happen to you.
Thank you so much, T-Boy, for that. You don't record a lot of things they're waiting supposed for make we Sierra Leoneans. But again, we get a challenge, and we'll get for continue for engage in the conversation and not get for end today. So we can begin the roundup small, Mr. Ba. Whilst with the roundup, there's this perception that from possibly, defenders of the accusations that we don't throw, say, oh, una wait for the next COI, then una bring una evidence. My understanding of a commission of inquiry, we've been get and we will not been get anti-corruption commission. Okay, because then they will be still the try for patch for build with democracy, with governance structures and systems. So you have commissions of inquiries. But now we don't set up an anti-corruption commission. We don't develop, don't they in footing for the past almost 20 years now, if I should say. We for they in a position for investigate ongoing acts of corruption and malpractices and all of those things. I don't know whether me get them wrong, but me not feel say anti-corruption commission only they investigate past crimes or go only investigate or continue substitutes of waiting commission of inquiry left. So let's make I ask you this, because you keep talking about discussing corruption in the present continuous, but the other side they say, now wait till government's done, then we'll call commission of inquiry. I want you to comment on that.
Yeah, the obvious, the one that they talk about wait the end of the government before we give people accountable. It's pure simple. These are people who have vested interest in the corruption that's ongoing. That's why, and also people who even use corruption as a smoke screen for clamp down on their opponent. They are not honest about fighting corruption. This government not get any. From the evidence we me don't see and what was published, nobody will convince me. This government is yet to convince me they are serious about fighting graft and corruption. They are not. They are corrupt. That's why we even get a statement in the Africanist Press saying, the loot of the current treasury by Madabio in less than 3 years has, doubled what we witnessed in the case of corruption. What they are talking about in the case of corruption within the last 10 years of Ernest Bai Koroma. You just need for look at the Commission of Inquiry white paper. You look at all these things and quantify the amount of money which they publish so now. From where we don't even call this government a government of missing billions long time ago. So because we, in fact, me and my colleagues, they would look at and say how much billion would they see again today? In fact, if you look at the Africanist Press publication, we take this thing like a pyramid kind of situation where we publish 5.2 billion, 10.1 billion. 30 billion. So if the next publication will publish, if we say we publish today 100 billion, we're not we will pull that story then because the evidence is there. So what is shocking to me for the most part, when we, for example, on January 5th, when we published the article that the government not spent in December alone on travel and holiday, 520,000 or 5.2 billion, the whole country, like, what? They were shocked for me as, we are not seeing nothing yet. So really, in the general scheme of the evidence of theft, we have not even published up to 10% of what has happened in the country within this 3 years. That's a fact, no exaggeration. And if I say the next one, I will write another article of theft by the Ministry of Finance, we're going to do with 200 million or 2 billion, 3 billion, 10 billion. I don't even have me yet. I just need to open the record. It's there. So the record of theft is so colossal. It's so unbelievable. What makes it more abhorring is the fact that these people are talking about fighting graft. And they fool the public. And that campaign against corruption, talk about closing leakages, and talk about ending all them bloated spending and wage bill for them to do worse than what we've witnessed in the past 10 years. So it's unbelievable in my own thinking. So that enough, that courage for making that kind of public performance, that pretense, that one day I don't even understand. I cannot understand the psychology of that kind of behavior. That is what gets me thinking 24 hours. Right. So what? So what did I try to say? So it's understandable. The people who they benefit from that corruption, they're not there. So I have always said, and I said this in the past, that we can only know if the current ACC leadership is really determined to fight corruption when they go after people under this administration, especially people who are the linchpins of this administration. Madabio, in man, they will put in a very strategic position. People who don't publish about theft of foreign travel taxes. That guy is a close person. These are all the man put in man. They all a key side. They say the money day. Like say, don't study all side the money day. He put all the main man then a key side. And so he's not going to go after them. So that's why you see when we publish about foreign travel taxes, the first thing the Anti-Corruption Commission and they defend now say no corruption, Dandy. But the man said it on Sarah Jem that we not study about corruption.
We don't say if we say they continue now, no go stop today.
So what are the type for saying the fact that I said this for me so far when I take on the history of the anti-corruption campaign in Sierra Leone, I have selected 2 people at least where I would say they're committed to fighting corruption. Val Collier. In 2005, I was editor of Concord Times where Val Collier began indict people. They had reveals, where indict Okere Adams. Tijankaba got so angry. I was present at the British Council when they launched the anti-corruption strategy of 2005. Tijankaba said he expressed dissatisfaction with the Anti-Corruption Commission. He said because by saying they have sealed indictment for 5 cabinet ministers without disclosing their names, that the anti-corruption don't create the impression, say he's leading a government of corrupt people. So now even if you want to appoint people into public service, they don't agree. And what happened was the parliament ganged up, the SLPP parliamentarians ganged up at the time and removed Valcole as anti-corruption commissioner. Okay? The second person, you saw, we're all familiar, at least in recent times, with Abdul Tijan Cole and experience dealing with corruption under Ernest Bai Koroma. We know what happened. So this current commissioner has been giving the president paychecks. So we are yet to see the performance of the current commissioner. You don't understand? The man not fight corruption. Now APC mandate by raid force. The day we come up from past tense of corruption, again at the present tense of corruption, present continuous tense, voila, you will see the different cases. It no go last day past 1 month or 1 week. And I assure you that one day. You see them brigade people where they call so now, that they go first begin challenge and then bobo them where they don't put on social media. Those youth groups that is signing agreements with, where they give them consultants, small agreement, the youth group there. We can say where they sing, where they do praise singing, then one day they get and they award them. Now they first go begin tell and say
that in the anti-corruption commissioner.
Yeah, get more awards than anybody in the country, with all due respect to him. But what I'm saying is, the very groups that we don't get awards, so the day we begin fed people inside the system, we are the patrons of them group and they. Now them very groups that they first go begin hang and say, this man, they against man and for puller. They don't go last past 1 week, 2 weeks. So I look forward to his actual fight against corruption. But, from what we've seen so far, these are just people who have been part of the masquerade, the part of the facade of fighting. They've been used by the regime to fight the APC. Right. They've been using corruption as the basis to clamp down on opposition, to quieten. Up to now, the anti-corruption is still investigating the report with the controversy between Honorable Tawa Conte decision. We get them documented, they correspond. There's nothing that stops them from issuing an opinion. I hope they are listening. If we now arrive at a verdict next week or a few weeks from now, I will publish even all those things about the argument between Paran and Tawa and the submission by both parties to the anti-corruption. We have those documents. So when I try publish, I'm we know if an Paran get right or an Tawa or if I not do, we go.
So if they're not published, they publish.
Yeah, they publish them, so the public will know. So then they will issue a press release for say, we're on the case, we're on it 90%. You've been on it for 1 year. You can't even demand and don't talk. Tawa don't present to you, Farah don't present to you. You're sitting on the files. Release the files so people will know how much money the clerk of parliament has overspent. They go pay Sadhguru, for example, for travel 3 times. Say travel and spend money on travel tickets. They pay 2 times. Then parliament, they say they owe that. This corruption is everywhere. That's why you see people, the institutions are not functioning because the state has become the avenue for loot. They make people away want for work for countries, one South country. We want to be part of this kind of kleptomaniac arrangement. So I'm advising the anti-corruption, please release this document between Tawa's controversy. The public has been waiting for it. If I not do, I go pull her for that. And what pull now, we will pull press release on a deeper investigator. And I don't want to embarrass you people with that kind of situation. So I advise you do it. Because for me, a minor thing. You will have done it, but because we have one cover for Paran and the other, because SLPP, it exposed corruption of a parliament that's now led by the SLPP. You don't want to do it.
Right. Mr. Ba, whilst we go, I just want to catch something quick because I felt very disappointed, on this government. The reason being, when Africanist Press published the Leadway issue and say, they're supposed to be, cheap or they don't cost the government, they don't cost the country about $5-something billion, then come out with a release say, oh, it was a mistake, now container them be one for right, now the act, okay? So now that mistake they make, instead of container, then go write cubic meters. The disappointment and shame where I get, and this is why that the deceptive part of it all now, they pain me. The revised article act right now, then still go write cubic meter day. No. Now they put them to 32 cubic meters. So if you have been saying a mistake, you have been one for write container. Now na mistake, you write cubic meter. But then the one don't revise back in 2020, una still write cubic meter there and just add, instead of 1 cubic meter, una say 32 cubic meter. What do you take the people of Sierra Leone for?
No, not this would they thought, because they're not, now with the conversation, they realize when they put container, we point out to them, say they are in violation of the Weight and Measures Act. The law weight condition measurement, weight of say enough of measure by gallon or a drum or container, if I do by cubic meters, by liters, by kilometers, by kilos instead of pounds. Basically, the unit of measurement now, we don't shift from imperial to metric measurement. So there not be no when they talk about container, because these people, they don't read. They even contradict themselves in their effort of stealing, because they forget. So when we write, say, even if you discard the Finance Act, the Finance Amendment Act, you look at the Weight and Measurement Act, you have violated the laws on measurement. So now you occur to them, yes, not true. So what they have done, by that revision alone, they have fallen. They don't come back to what we say, that they constantly devalue the export. So now they don't make the devaluation of export a legal thing.
Right.
So these people, they take the people of Sierra Leone for granted. They take the masses for granted, and it's sad.
We're glad you forget you at this platform, and thank you. So set the agenda for we. When are we next date with you? Because we get for set the dates and tell we waiting for dinner the menu.
No, for now, as I said last time, we this year, 2021, we will continue to publish details of the outflows of this corruption and the corruption web. We involve the key actors and we'll map them out. So this is the thing we'll get for do now. So by the next 6 months, from now to June, leading up to June, hopefully we don't get a graph of this. For example, if we say travel, how many people in the government, if we say they look at people who don't make per diem, almost money don't make per diem, the one who don't travel past all, almost they don't make per diem. So we check, we put Madabio, almost in don't get, we put the wife, almost in don't get per diem, direct. We put the chief minister, almost they don't get per diem, the finance minister, these officers will travel. So we show, so people will say, so every trip where they go, you don't collect 5,000, 10,000, 5,000, 10,000, or the first lady, you don't collect 20,000, 27,000, 37,000, direct 25,000 pounds. So we put this thing in graph so people can see the president almost in your per diem, almost the first lady in your per diem, almost the chief minister in your per diem, almost not the Shenga in your per diem, almost not this in per diem. So you get this graph of people. So then people will begin to see almost money with all lost in India. So that's the kind of work I'm looking forward to. That is what this thing is leading up to. So I like to talk about these things because for me, this is how citizens should be able to hold government accountable. Not to them people here get the country. We are all citizens. We have equal stakes, equal citizenship, nobody. So they have reduced this idea. They've created this idea that anybody not support this thieving way they go on, this agenda. This agenda for thief public money. If you don't support a to good citizen, we prefer to stand on this. What I'm telling the people of Sierra Leone is that our responsibility for holding these people accountable. Okay? They are not doing us good. Where were these people with their so-called charitable efforts 10 years ago, 15 years ago? Why do you think they are charitable only when they are in power? So now you have money that they use for going and pretend that they do not good. We have to hold them accountable. How much money, for example, I asked the first lady, make it come out and announce to the people of Sierra Leone, almost you don't make in per diem. We they travel with all over. Almost you can collect the first people then go England. Almost you collect when you go Switzerland as you per diem. Almost you collect then they go Dubai. All them trips there. Almost make it announcer. If you want to really transparent, you say no collect 1 million. From there, I tell you say back Sierra Leone collect pass. What in don't collect? If you know one said did she collect per diem from the travel account, from government money or not? If you say no, we go publish. We are going to publish the totality of all the money that we've lost.
But the first lady said that one day we invite her and they buy ticket for
I heard that statement there, but I would say that we have the money that they paid for ticket, that they paid for hotel, that they paid for then collect per diem, the pocket money. We go to the per diem, the people will listen. The young pocket money for, so you go see the president take 57,000 instead of per diem for in delegation. The first lady take back 37,000 or 30,000, 27. This is replete all over the accounts. You see it all over. So we calculate that one day, then trips away don't make. You know, so Madhabi has traveled more than any other president so far. That's a fact. People know that day. But what the people of Sierra Leone do not know is how much is taken on every trip, how much his wife is taking. So they make this the travel account is like how you call like a cookie jar. You know, I got to take 1 diamond, me picking back, I take 1 diamond. So where did they go? The president take 57,000, 17,000, 120,000. The woman back take 50,000, 30,000, you know, like that. So you begin to wonder, and if you go for country, you take for this country 50,000. You take for the other country 50,000. So if they pass 4 sides, you take 4 different per diem for the same 4 days. So in total, we calculate it will be like $200,000. What kind of political leaders are these?
And that don't mix by the tickets and the hotel bills.
No. The tickets and I will see almost they pay to Africa Travel Agency, to Doreen Travel, to all these small sat groups, to all these groups that we know, Cal Travel, you know, these people. So what this tells me, for me, looking at all this information, I find out, say, we have to make the people know this because of obligation. People do not know this. If the people don't know this one, it will be a problem. So we have to inform the people. I still have faith in the people of Sierra Leone. I'm still optimistic that a well-informed, properly informed population will definitely find their path to freedom and liberation from this kind of stuff. We cannot continue with this kind of situation. April will make 60 years of us doing the same thing, and it's get worse every time. I am so disappointed in this current group of people because I know these individuals. I sat down with them in restaurants in different places when we were all fighting against Aneskroma from different platforms, different points of engagement. Okay? If somebody will tell me, say, there will be this predatory with this excessive passion for national wealth, national resource, the treasury, it's unbelievable. So I cannot even imagine the kind of zeal we then get and enthusiasm. So when I look at these midgets that they send around to insult me and say this, I feel sorry for them because what these people are looting, and then they are giving you not even the size of a peanut seed, and they begin to make enemies and whatever. So I've told them, I know they argue with Una, we're going to be friends because in the final analysis, the people of Sierra Leone are going to hold these leaders accountable, they're going to hold them responsible, and they will drive them out of power through the ballot box. They will vote them out because nobody wants this kind of thieves in power. They don't want them. Okay, so you wear the insults, we're going to be party back the same in the next 2-3 years, or, you know, we have to pray for long life, but we will sit down back and talk the same thing. The same way that you guys were happy with what we wrote in the past, and now you are angry, you're going to be very happy again for we in the end. But what it will be is that you're going to be looking at yourself in the mirror and say you are a participant of this crime we don't happen with the highlights so, and you are defending it. And we're going to remind you of those things. Right. That's what I look forward to. And I believe, say, we will believe, say, we're going to hold leaders accountable and with the type of struggle for good governance, we're going to forget the last word. Because in the final analysis, truth and lie, you know, they compete. Okay? So that's what I can say. So I will encourage the people of Sierra Leone to we have to massify this information. We have to continue civic engagement. We all not going to surrender to this predatory culture of loot. Okay? And the people, the greater majority of people are not want to participate in this kind of situation, but they do not know what is happening. Now, responsibility, people who get this platform, Sarah, Jem, other people that will get this similar platform, let us have faith in the work that we do. Let us believe in the work that we do. Okay? We go fixing at small efforts, but these small efforts collectively get for germinating the kind of movement, the kind of national action where the things are impossible, we will make the kind of changes what we need. It takes time for educated population towards national changes, and I think this way. That's why I commend you guys for the work that you do. It's no easy thing. Right now, you see. Article we last published, the Gambian Press is now republishing some of the stuff from Africanist Press. They are happy. But
so I was just going to ask you, so you don't take the facts, go on aside?
No, not of you. The people in other part of Africa, they republish some of this stuff. I understand on front page in Liberia, they consider now they reproduce some of the things they will pull from Sierra Leone. That's what they put out. So it's going to circulate. And it becomes an indictment to our friends in the Sierra Leonean media who are calling us, they say we're not politicians, we're not a journalist. But why are you not doing the work if you're a journalist? Do the work of the journalist. But what you are for reminding of the fact that we live in a new period, okay? The liberation of the instruments of mass communication. Now, the dictators do not get a verdict over the kind of information we will come out. We live, this internet generation is not a generation that you're going to suppress. It's not a generation that you're going to quieten. No matter how you're powerful, you cannot subvert the current technological revolution. We don't happen at the world. So what that means is that you get for they get for land for live by them. So whether you buy everybody in Sierra Leone with all the media, you cannot control the circulation of information. It's happening. People are going to engage, and this is not something you're going to stop. So
now that you mean by you new slogan, I see you hashtag we fly. So now that we
don't work out, we don't move, now we fly.
So now I fly.
We fly into new tangents now. We fly go all outside the money then don't go.
Right. Yeah, I think T-Boy get one last one for you. I know say you want for go now, Mr. Ba. But quickly, before T-Boy come, T-Boy make a short a big. Mr. Ba, whose term would they get you next na CRGM Media? We want to tell the people that now. You know, say that's what we can do. That's how they fly. Last they will tell us say January, 3rd week, 4th week.
Well, maybe we look forward to the next couple of weeks of work. Then we determine how we can come. But I believe say we get more in stock. So we want for.
So should we say March?
Well, let's see. If we not do much, we'll do towards independence.
Okay.
The gate towards independent.
Okay. So, Famule Onayeri, keep a date. Mr. Ba gets a date with Unanaya for celebrate Sierra Leone's 60th independence. And again, for talk about a lot of things. And when I get for members say in book day on the way as well. What's the title again?
A Democracy Betrayed.
Okay, Democracy Betrayed, where he say they publish on the 3rd, for mark the 3rd year anniversary of this present government. So over to you, T-Boy, quickly.
Well, we don't hear you, Mr. Ba, in final deliberation and final statements, but just to apologize one more time, say we have persistent abusers on the chat, but I think I try as much as possible for delete them and get rid of them because, like I say, we don't need anything where they actually can disrupt exactly what we do right now. Mr. Ba, I get 2 specific questions from you, and one is of concern, and it's not just concern for you, it's concern for all of us and concern for anybody we try for do anything regarding Sierra Leone, we possibly will go down well with the eyes of what we see that happen all over the world. For example, the Trump administration tried for create a lot of crisis and enmity and divide the nation in terms of in rhetoric the way they actually say towards the American people and the American government where for say they on the pipeline for can take over governance. So the question is one, are you going to hand over your reports to either the ACC or the MCC? That's one. And secondly, there is somebody there specifically worried about your situation and specifically about your life, thinking there was an issue in Mozambique with a journalist called Carlos Cardoso, who was gunned down because of the kind of similar work we do against the Mozambican government for actually bring out things that they do in terms of their in governmental activities. So those are the 2 specific questions I just want for.
And there is another one where T-Boy as well. Another one where say the person they ask is say why Mr. Ba keep mentioning the First Lady and Chief Minister, but they mention anything about the Vice President in office.
All right, so today I want to because the Vice President is full anyway, but that's
well,
that's not my question.
That was a question specifically from Ishmael Kalon. So
okay, well, basically, I go left those 2 questions for what we don't add to.
Yeah,
Mr. Ba, over to you before you round up and before we say give you.
Just make a short speech so you go. We know so we don't hold you longer than expected.
Yeah.
Well, that don't make the question about security and safety. The choice now for say we remain silent, but we don't get that luxury for remain silent. And as you say, dictators can react with this because this kind of information, of course, it carry a lot of risk. But we no go also look at life, everything at risk. You fly plane, you drink water, the price. Democracy is never an easy situation. Yeah, and Carlos Cardoso, as you say, one of Africa's greatest journalists, an inspiration to many of we. An example, in fact, personally, somebody invoke with me things in an example of what they do. In fact, much of what in the Africanist Press they do is informed by Cardoso's work, and Cardoso in your work, for people who don't know, it'll be a very difficult time in a place inside the Mozambican government monopolize the circulation of information as a one-party state, and the man, even if state functionary decides, what's going to happen with this corruption, it's not possible, he decides for commodity form. So this was somebody who exposed the privatization of the Mozambican Central Bank, okay, and he got to deal with a $14 million scandal, and he had his newspaper was just now faxing in report there to various embassies and organizations, but he was killed. Yeah, but he lived in Mozambique. But significant changes perhaps don't happen since then to now. But we not think say we go arrive at that point. We have responsibility all for all governments accountable. The power of the people, that is the security for every journalist. Yes, they work like this carry consequences. You get in your own. Like now, many of people, the way they call me Paddy in the past, but now they're at the forefront. Some of them said, "Abobo never will train." And they cost we now because then again, there's small salary. Then they get 20 million, 10 million salary. So in the cost we now. They don't forget we passed relationship. So then they cost we for that. So that's why I am not offended by insults, because insults are basically the bare minimum. What will they do? If they have their way right now, they will do worse than insults. So don't be offended with the insults and the page and the chat rooms and all that. That is the only thing we suffer right now. It's different from a situation where they will have sent people, these same people with insults will don't go to your house and kill you at night. So this is why I think we got to pay attention to these reports about people being silently killed. We don't hear them complain and say they kill people, but we don't see them don't kill prisoners, defenseless prisoners. And we got to talk about how we investigate the Pademba Road incident, because it's very key. Okay? So we're not going to look at the fear of intimidation, the terror of dictatorship, and decide to be silent. Because if we do that one day, dictators will emerge into, they will become these big monsters. We for get rid of them will become a problem. The costs will be more high than the current price we will pay. The current price na insult, sleeplessness. People will call you. I get people that call me directly on my phone, then they cost me. Then they make audio, then they send them to me. So, but for me, the final word now they look forward to. I believe, say, the power of the people will defeat this dictator, these thieves in power. Okay, before they become that monstrous, that's why we are challenging them now. If we not do them now, it pass so. They will not thief a lot of money, they will not amass a lot of power, they will not change the constitution, they will not think about, hegemony. What do you do to Sylvia Blyden, example? Okay, so we strategically position now for expose the situation back home. That's why you see people are afraid to speak out. Because if we then are in the cost win record audio in the cost win threatening, we have bodies within the country. How about those who are trapped in the country who want to speak out, but they cannot? They are afraid that somebody is going to go at night and kill them. So now you find out, say, there is a close connection between the loot of a national treasury and the sanguinary nature of leaders. They become bloodthirsty because they know, say, oh, if I left power, they will arrest me. They will, especially when these secrets don't come out. You don't understand it. The number one left power again. So that's a bigger challenge. So the challenge not for me or my own immediate family. Now how we will get rid of them people that may not become that kind of monster. We be able to pull them on power. It will be at the cost of not just one individual in life, but the cost of lives of people, both in terms and the treasury almost don't empty now. So while we fight for rescue the treasury, more not allow especially the treasury can be looted and fatten and embolden them people there now to the point where they are changing the constitution. Even the local council now, they say then they get rid of the law for make sure, say, non-partisan local council. They remove political parties from local council elections at the beginning of dictatorship. Then they try to entrench themselves. Because nobody will loot country this kind of way if you believe they left power soon. Because you know say if you left power, then go hold. But you only loot country this way where you believe, say, you don't count for 50 years. And they've been saying it, and we have to make sure that doesn't happen. Because for me, there is no profit in having a dictator in power, okay? Because the looting of the treasury is one, but then it will be at the cost of lives. So that is why I am willing to take the risk to do this, because it's going to save lives of people, save the national treasury, save the resources of the country, and save the lives of people. If we not do it now, If we not do it now, the consequences going to be greater than what we talk about. So I think that one day. So if the price will pay for an insult, we're ready for carry that one day. But we cannot remain silent in the fearing that dictators will do this and that.
Right. Okay, Mr. Bad, thank you so much. We appreciate you, and stay safe, stay well. And we know, so we viewers them, we appreciate you. The comments, it's been overwhelming. We look forward for, get you also again in April, Independence, close to Independence or Independence Week, for give with people and the Independence Bonanza, waiting salon for celebrate at 60. Now, so we're going for name the program. Now that will be the big banner. And I should say by then you book could on come out or go there about for come out as well. So.
I think of May, basically. May was the end of May, early June, yeah.
But at least you go down begin giving some juice waiting there inside it.
No, we got a lot in stock the next couple of weeks so they can. The more entertaining, the more serious news they can, and now they begin enter.
Okay. So Fambule where they watch, Mr. Chernoh Alpha M say let una fly with the Africanist Press. Keep watching, there is more and more in stock for you. So watch the program. And we go left, I'm letting go. We go continue for roundup. So, T-Boy, your rounding up statements, please.
Well, my rounding up statement is simple. I think we don't spend about 2.5 hours or more on this particular topic. And I feel to say for Open 2021, with such an impressive and controversial and serious, and I want to use that parliamentary MP in jargons the way they used in a parliament a couple of weeks ago. Somebody sent them to me yesterday, but I'm not able to use all those terms because some of them are economical terms and I'm not able to remember them all. But I would say a big thank you to our viewers and a big thank you to our chat room. Even though we have some kind of 2-3 issues there and maybe they happen, everybody is not going to be happy with what Mr. Bai is saying, what Mr. Bai is doing, or what we are doing, or what we are saying. But again, we live in a liberal world these days. We not so everything we say go make change or go affect change, but it will make change and it will affect change either. So what we will try for do now for emphasize on the effects of change, and change can come whenever you have people who wants to rally for change. Democracy is not about violence anymore. We don't actually use violence to exercise democracy. We use the tip of the pen. Englishman don't change the whole world. The Englishman changed Africa just by the tip of the pen, by saying to you, A is A, and I want you to pronounce it bigger. A, scream it loud, A. So basically, we are similarly trying to do the same stuff, and we are not doing it by any means of malice or hidden agenda. It's just the fact of what we believe in, and anybody that believes in what we are doing are the people who are following us online, are the people who are making sure that whenever we come up with anything, they are always willing to come and listen. I don't think we have to disrespect our viewers and our chatters for the fact that we're bringing them on a platform and people are there abusing them unnecessarily or abusing our guests. I don't think we have a platform for such abuse. And if anybody they will know any one of we, I don't think this either ever we say anything way other than the F word in any way, shape, or form. Some of us have lived in Europe for donkey years. The F word is like a normal greetings to everybody. So as far as I'm concerned, it's about time for us to look at the basic agenda of what life is all about, and life is all about change. And the millenniums, they call them, are the kids who we now have. Their agendas to who we were back in the days, 20 years back, is not the same as we are right now. So we own perception of the millenniums is totally different. And some people still haven't understand the concept of what these kids are actually made of. Until you know the concept of what these kids are made of, then you'll be able to understand the reason why we are bringing up all these ideas. Because they don't have those reverse psychology that we normally have as adults for now, because their mentality is totally different. And when we interact with them, we either find them to be either violent, aggressive, or have offensive statements, or they don't have no respect. But this is their era. And for them to be able to participate actively in politics in wherever they are, we should be able to enlighten them, because we begin now with the one and then Sierra, they're not even think of going to Sierra Leone. Because when they look at the level of what's happening there, and when some of them actually pay visits to Sierra Leone, they always ask, Dad, why aren't you living in Sierra Leone? And you ask the question, why do you say that? This place is full of luxury. What? I've seen things that I've never seen in London or in America, in other parts of Europe. Because that's the reality. Well, is that really the reality? Because when you look beyond those reality, it's a total different ballgame. That is what we are trying to change. We want to make Sierra Leone an environment that is not comfortable for everybody, but suitable for everybody. Right. We have a very small population, not even the size of the whole of Southeast. And we are struggling to make ends meet. We should not be struggling, because some of those things are basic. When I said basic necessities that we don't really need to talk about when it comes to modernity of lifestyle. So let's join hands and make sure that we do the right thing. And the right thing is not just to oppose because you feel like opposing, but constructive criticism, I think, will help. Because even if these guys are doing the wrong thing, but when we constructively criticize what they're doing, if they have conscience, they will sit back and realize, okay, what can I do to make amends for what I have done wrong over the past 2 years or over the past 10 years? Yeah. But if you don't have any form of remorse, we are humans. When you die, what you get to go to you? Nothing. When I say nothing, nothing. And people that we have buried very close to a couple of weeks ago, we buried them with nothing. So that's a living evidence to say what you carry with now this world, not to him you do go with. So we got to understand that. If we never understand that, then life never for be meaningful. We cannot be living in our whole life for material stuff. What should they wear clothes for? What should they buy motor for? What should they live in a $30,000 million house for when only one woman is sleeping in one bed? You can't even roll over to the other side of the bed because by the time you're ready for a roll, they don't clean. So basically, let's try and be positive, because if we're not positive about our Sierra Leone, we'll go ever argument for the say so, for the say so, for the say so, for the say so. When will we stop saying so? That should be the question we should be asking ourselves. So when they become 60 in the next couple of months, what have we done? What have we gained? What have we achieved? How can we make that change effective for our kids yet unborn, for some of the one they get for born, because like we don't draw the line. So I leave it up to you guys to think about this carefully, because
thank you so much, T-Boy.
Responsible.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Duga. Well, another reform. In don't look at the broader perspective for say this get for be beyond looking at yourself as a person, look at your community, your society, and the picking the way we get for left, whose kind of generation we want for left behind, So that's why it's important. It's not just talking about corruption, but the impact of corruption to we society and we community. I want to tell Mr. Ba, thank you for where he spent this time with we. It just come again for reinforce the conversation and the information we don't share, not to anything new per se. And some of this information is known by everybody, but now very few people get, the guts for come out and say them out loud. So he's been doing that. So we consider he's been speaking for the voiceless, waiting a lot of where they think, where they grumble in a corner, where they make they say, oh, politics or politicians then are bad people and no one mix pan politics. Politics not dirty business. Now the thing then this make Mr. Badi talk say, then things also need for change. Waiting me see on this whole thing. Now that we agree that corruption not a major problem, just like how the president of Sierra Leone himself acknowledge. And I want to appeal to the government and their operatives. Rather than you antagonizing the people where they speak up, the people where they highlight the things and for help make our job easy, try to get them closer and ask them how they capable for help. Stop attacking people. Stop putting people's name on a list say where this person come, we get for take a walk keep ayanda, or where this person talk, we get for go fany address over ayanda. That will not help you. If you do the right thing, people then will talk the right thing. And I want to let una left for encourage una media handlers for attack people and misinform the rest of the world, say you are only a Sierra Leonean where you speak waiting the government want for let you talk. No. If it's wrong, we have to point it out. Mr. Badon talk and say true and wrong and the true, the true always go prevail over the wrong thing. So true no true no get surname, true not true. It's you not get half true, you not get big true. True na one grain true. So make sure, Mr. Government, Papa Government, Mama Government, picking government, una come together and do the right thing. If una believe say waiting Mr. Badi say not to the correct thing, una come with una own evidence. Una left for be petty, they attack and curse people. Sierra Media platform is for us all. If you believe that you have evidence, Mr. Government, una come. We always invite una, but you're not coming. When we had the anti-corruption commissioner, we gave him a platform. He came, he spent 2 hours and more. He talked about everything. Nobody know. He was protected. We asked him questions. He gave his opinion. It was left with the viewers waiting and feel. So you waiting at government, if you feel the same thing, come forward and come, let we get the conversation. It's a conversation I'm going for help let we move go before. And with the appeal to the parliament, please, some of these things una need for call them up because we believe in una as the people's representative for let una call up then issues yasu. We know say sometimes and the central government no go listen, but at least una go don't do una own job for make sure say una call and ask question, because if money una not approve, then ministries we supposed for get them money then they for provide services for the people, they know they get them. I believe say na parliament's responsibility for call the Ministry of Finance and ask question how you get money for fund the First Lady in office, but you not get money for give to Ministry of Social Welfare. Sometimes they not even get a one table and chair na one of the office. But we get the office of the First Lady where they buy furniture every year. It's no hate. We not hate nobody. The First Lady is welcome to our platform as well. Anytime we want for come for carry bot, if you want for come use the platform, she's welcome. So we want to say thank you to una all. And we don't see the new slogan, we fly by Africanist Press. So Africanist Press are the new airline now where they fly by. So keep flying with the Africanist Press and join Sierra Media. Tomorrow, we go then also for discuss another important issue. We see government and new regulations on, fighting COVID and all of those. But we don't hear so many complaints about some of the measures then, including the curfew, including, some sad stories the way they happen at Lunge Airport, people and safety where they travel go. And up to the point wherein then they get people in passports, where they take na their hand, then still not give them. So we go get that conversation there. So tomorrow, 8 o'clock Salon time, 8 o'clock UK time, and 3 o'clock US Eastern Standard Time. So as always, me Juma Ba on behalf of the team, they say thank you and God bless you. Stay safe wherever you are. And let we still keep hope alive and believe say Salon go better. Bye-bye. As we talk about burning issues ranging from politics to the economy, culture to sport, education to entertainment, corruption to the environment, we realize the Sierra Leone story is far from finished. So, Sierra Media Production brings you Zoom. Zooming In is the program that engages everyday people, entrepreneurs, inventors, entertainers, activists, policymakers, and politicians to discuss and debate issues relating to Sierra Leone. Zooming in digs deep into the issues and stories. Zooming in ensures the debate is pushed to another level. Zooming in asks those questions that has never been asked before. So, join us, host Chumaba.
Yes, this na term for all Salon people and them party them. Sierra Leone Media will be bringing you a variety of programs ranging from documentaries to discussions, interviews, news, views, sports, and entertainment. Our programs will contain matters on development, governance, the economy, and issues that are of importance to Sierra Leone. So, no left BNO because we get Bebe program then like Salon discussion, meets the ministers, the president's hour, and the Gladi program. Look me, I look you. All this they start soon na www.sierragemedia.org. Now who's term these?
When I was young, a lot of things were different. Unfortunately, most of the differences seen now are heartbreaking and are not good at all.
Before now, men were strong protectors of the weak, fathers, brothers, lovers, sons. Their mere presence guaranteed the safety of women and children.
But what do we do now?
Men harassing and raping women.
Men sexually abuse little girls.
Men battering and killing their wives.
Any form of sexual assault, be it rape, sexual abuse, or pedophilia, is a killer to human self-esteem.
Women should stop dying in silence. Speak now.
The rapist should be stigmatized, not the victim.
I think death sentence should be the consequence of such terrible act.
And you mothers, build confidence in your children, put trust in them, listen to them when they make reports, and take necessary actions.
Talking of mothers before now, women were virtuous.
They were mothers, daughters, and sisters.
Nurturing, counseling, supporting their men folks.
But now,
women are trafficking female children for money.
Women are forced to be silent.
All this must stop, and it must stop now.
Real men do not abuse, rape, or molest women and children. It is barbaric, unacceptable.
Let all real men stand with us.
Together, let's say an emphatic no to rape, sexual abuse, pedophilia, and domestic violence.
Of all the crimes committed against a person, rape is the one that leaves the person feeling very violated. A rape victim is often left with the feeling that a part of them has been torn apart.
To use another person's body and ignore the soul that resides within is one of the most outstandingly shocking crimes that one person can commit against another.
Some men harass and rape their women.
Some men sexually abuse underage girls.
Some men beat and kill their wives.
Any form of sexual assault is unacceptable.
There must be consent before you act.
Being in a relationship is not consent.
If they are not sober, they can't consent.
Flirting is not a consent.
We had sex before is not consent.
Silence. It's not consent.
Only an informed, sober, freely given, ongoing and enthusiastic yes is consent.
Women should stop dying in silence.
A man does not become a real man by physically dominating a woman. A man becomes a real man by loving, protecting, and respecting the woman.
Real men do not rape or abuse women and children.
Let all real men stand with us. And together, let's say no to child abuse, no to domestic violence, no to all forms of rape, being it spousal rape, intimate partner rape, child sex abuse, statutory rape, date rape, serial rape, and gang rape.
We must rise up against this ugly trend.
Justice for one, justice for all.
All sexual assault must stop, and it must stop now.
I was raped multiple times by my aunt's boyfriend when I was 6.
I was repeatedly raped at the age of 8 by a close family member.
I was raped at 19. I didn't speak openly about it because I was ashamed and afraid that people would judge me.
I was raped at age 5 by my caregiver's husband.
On June 17th, 2020, 5-year-old Khadija Sakho, a beautiful little girl from Freetown, Sierra Leone, was repeatedly raped and strangled to death, allegedly by her own cousin. Her death shocked the nation. But in truth, in this small West African country, 9 out of 10 girls experience some form of sexual violence in their lifetime. Think about that for a second. 9 out of 10. That's 90%. My name is Aisha Sase. I'm a journalist and activist. I'm joining forces with Idris Elba and other activists from across Sierra Leone to support the survivors of sexual violence with the Survivors Solidarity Fund. Please consider donating whatever you can afford. All monies raised will go to 4 local organizations currently providing free medical and legal services to survivors. 5-year-old Khadija lost her life to sexual violence. That same threat remains for millions of others. So this is also a call for you to use your voice, your power, to draw attention to an enduring culture of rape. Together, we must end it now. My name is Aisha Sase. I am Khadija Sakho.
I am Khadija Sakho. I am Khadija Sakho.
I am Khadija Sakho.
I am Khadija Sakho.
We are Khadija Sakho.
We are all Khadija Sakho.
Hello, my name is Josephine Kamara. I'm the founder of You Can Do It Foundation. You Can Do It Foundation is a charitable organization based in Sierra Leone, West Africa. You Can Do It Foundation has been in existence for the past 2 years. We have been fighting gender-based violence against women and girls within the community. During the past 2 years, we have been offering psychosocial support, counseling, court fee, medical fee, including school items to the survivors of gender-based violence. However, during the lockdown of COVID-19, report received and confirmed that rape cases among a minor has increased tremendously within our community. Because of this, You Can Do It Foundation has secured the land to build an accommodation for the survivors of rape. However, this may almost become impossible without your generous support. We need your help to build this home for the survivors. Your help could be in cash or in kind. If you wish to join us to make a difference in a child's life, please go to our website, which is www.youcandoitcyf.org. or you can go to our GoFundMe page, which is Home of Hope for the survivors of gender-based. Or you can contact us with the details at the end of this video. We thank you greatly for your generous support, and thank you once more for making a difference in a child's life.
Silverstone Beats.
People killing, people dying, children hurting, hear them crying. You can practice what you preach, or would you turn the other cheek? Father, 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 help us, send some guidance from above. People got me questioning, where is the love?
See this life we live, we all have to give, yeah, yeah. Cause all I see is evil, and too much killing of my people, yeah, yeah. So let's bless one another, yeah, yeah. So let's help one another. I sing again, yeah.
What's me, I don't see this kind of thing where they happen. This not to be education opportunity. Now in we need, let we learn for the share, not to outing for big greed.
You see this life to live, you see where we lose or we know. Stop killing one another, let's stand together, yeah. Stop playing the hero, looking at each other like was zero. On your block with a C, money dip and make every day pan free, yeah.
Our life they took our boys, they take our joy, take our joy. This not the time we stop now crime. Don't blind but it's like your future.
Stop the stabbing, stop the killing. Let's love one another. Peace.
Where is the love? I see fighting every day, I see dying every day. Why don't we help each other and pave the way for a better life, a life that we all deserve? Instead of killing each other, why don't we preserve? So you wanna be a bad man, he's gonna be a badder man. You got a big knife, he's gonna get a bigger knife. Our people suffered for years in chains. Now we turn on each other, cut for gains. For the ones that send the youths to kill themselves, you pretend to be a father, figure but only care for yourself. You are nothing but the flesh of the devil. You're evil, low life on another level. Think about the mothers in the pain they go through. You don't care for these kids, they mean nothing to you. But karma only knows the boomerang maneuver. One day the green reaper will be your remover.
They said of the range, ranting up some sanctimonious food is as poetic verses, ruminate a prophecy given to a sentient dude. So I say it's as it is for you to listen and deduce the wisdom that's gonna liberate and galvanize you. Under the sun ain't nothing new, that for black on black crimes and breaking news. Under the sun ain't nothing new.
You gotta stand up, stand up for what you believe in. Gotta stand up for what is right. Cause if you got me, then I've got you too. Regardless of what you've been through, even when you're feeling new. Where is the love? Do this if we try. There's no time to waste your time. Together forever, whatever the weather. Us as a unit working together.
See, I did not love done, but me heart still not tongue. God don't lift me up, but me heart still not run. You will never go far if you don't know where you're from. So I don't do it for myself, I'ma do it for the young. Please to my brothers, let's do it for the youngers. Why spend a bag on a jumper? Back where you're from, people dying with hunger. We people then they suffer. You don't know, yeah, you the bluff, it's copper. The game need for change, like we not get up. Where's the love? Where's the love, yo? Where's the love? I said,
where is the love? Little youth, let's take time. Stop all the knife and the gun crime. Think of the future, paint that picture. Get a youth in the future. Peace gonna rain on me. Peace gonna rain on me. Yeah.
Let's stop the violence and come together. Get rid of knives and guns and bombs. Let's be together. Pray peace and love, golden hopes through storm and weather. See what is going on. Where is the love?
Tell me, how do you feel when you see your brothers and sisters lying down the street helplessly? And what will you do if you die today and find yourself in hell? I want to ask you this. Look inside your eyes and
get sense. You know, Sabi say nefla for butter. Stabbing guys, yeah, that's uncool. When it comes to knives, yeah, I'm anti. What happened to fighting guys with your hands, G? When you stab a man, it's not one man you stab. Just remember that you stab a whole family.
People killing, people dying, children hurt and hear them crying. You can practice what you preach, or you will turn the other cheek. Father, 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 help us, send some guidance from above. People got me questioning, where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love? The love, the love. Where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love? The love, the love.
Oh, Kadiatu, my friend. She was the brightest at our level. Even though she was as innocent as the heaven, that did not stop Papa Abu at age 57 to ask for her hand in marriage as she turns 11. Her parents, being naive about this rage, tolerated this marriage, and this destroyed the hopes and dreams of Kadiatu to live like it in Seattle. Instead, she's been used as a tool by an old school. Kadiatu is being used as a bait by her own mate. My friend is being emotionally tortured by this old culture. Old child marriage, it's on the rampage like disease, eating up the fabric of our girl child image, and it's our duty to cage. Let's diverge. Please be obliged. It is now we emerge from this ancient custom at large.
If not for this dreadful event, Kadiatu could have become president, but now she has been trapped in an old man's residence, like a mosquito in a tent. She is vulnerable, but with her age, she is still able to become that virtuous woman of substance, like Madam Patricia Kaba, Madam Dr. Kadisi Se, Madam Sianyama Kooma, Madam Dr. Sylvia O'Blyden, Madam Her Excellency Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Oh yes, without child marriage, our girl child can still turn into Madam Hillary Clinton, Madam Theresa May. Be it as it may, Madam Condoleezza Rice, let's not be hypnotized, but rather stay wise, for this can only be realized if education is being prioritized and child marriage is being criticized. So please, parents, do not relent, as it is apparent that a girl child can become great if only you patiently wait.
Who's and we go, sweet alone. What a beautiful love. We fall like unto the bone. Cause if it well, who's and we go. Everybody me say well. If we all the songs be so strong. Everybody me say stand up. If you like salon, say yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Then say yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Then say yeah. So good in the morning. The land is just gloomy. The moon is going. The cloud is forming. The cocks are crowing. Dew is falling. The birds are coming. Everybody running. It's a sweet salon today. The land is yummy. See the mommy they cooking fufu. The body smoking cigarettes. Rajo they watch baby musu. Where they find out the countries. Right in West Africa, on the Atlantic Ocean. Inside this land, so much I can boast of. Look at the good plantation. From the beach I get meditation. Make me not wear this nation. I get L.O.V.E. for me salon. Yeah, for me salon. Love for me salon. Sweet salon. What a beautiful love. We fall like unto the bone. Cause if it well, who's and we go. Sweet salon. What a beautiful love. We fall like unto the bone. Cause if it well, who's and we go. Everybody me say welcome. If we all the songs be so strong. Everybody me say stand up. If you like salon, say yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Then say yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Then say yeah. L.O.V.E. Sierra Leone was an end of place where sweet like gold. That diamond box, I silver and gold. So I will make out for the young and old. I'm in for let me serve, help me serve. I'll see you come from the bars, you want for put trust. Peace, love, and unity, now for put fast. For the jealousy and portrait, that don't make sense. Togetherness is one, but wait for we success. So get up and go walk, I'll sit down for the top. I criticize the government just for mix up. But stack on the bill, so we need for put stuff. Have a hustle for you, no matter how you struggle the bone. It's life without pain, not easy, not in the zone. Just forget to live it, know myself can go slow. We like to say I go, I never forget about this old. Sweet alone, what a beautiful love. We fall like unto the bone. Cause if it well, who's and we go. Sweet alone, what a beautiful love. We fall like unto the bone. Cause if it well, who's and we go. Everybody me say welcome. If we all the songs be so strong. Everybody me say stand up. If you like salon, say yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Then say yeah. Sweet salon, how we each and everyone gon' take care of his own. We all remember say this country now we each and everyone will take care of salon. I will exalt thee, realm of the free. Great is the love where I guess for salon. I got team up track of one for maintaining this land. No matter the situation, I get love for salon. I got in up every day, but they pamphlet. Blessing up picking go school, make it go land the book. I don't owe me all like farmer, put the country back up for any attack. Me go where me go. I got in up every day, but they pamphlet. Blessing up picking go school, make it go land the book. I don't owe me all like farmer, put the country back up for any attack. Me go where me go. Sweet alone, what a beautiful love. We fall like unto the bone. Cause if we well, who's and we go.
hold them young tight. If the street now up in field, make them fly them young kite. And pray every day for Jah to show them the light and take them to the higher heights. Wow, the street now college. We gon' give you wisdom, forget your freedom. Just watch the way you walk and the way you talk before you get some knowledge. The street now college. We gon' give you wisdom, forget your freedom. Just watch the way you walk and the way you talk before you get some knowledge. Now what the little boy them will just scan out the street where they make like nothing they can act. This one a warning. The street not funny. Me have it right there for the little girl them we don't come out now house we don't left school for make them expose. This one a warning. Say the street not reality. Me want it up to them, make them steady. The street get it, say the better and deadly. Me not think say them ready. Cause yeah, I know they taught but you know load way heavy. I like you dressed like Nelly. Then go off you with beats, make you sleep empty belly. They don't care about your shit. Let them make them get until you been the rich. That's why me do this song with sticks by the streets. Now college, we gon' give you wisdom, forget your freedom. Just watch the way you walk and the way you talk before you get some knowledge. The street now college, we gon' give you wisdom, forget your freedom. Just watch the way you walk and the way you talk before you get some knowledge. Every young ghetto youth man must walk. If you slack, you relax, you go be broke. Palakoloko, you go end up forget stroke. But you funeral, you laugh, you ain't on a joke. Work hard, make sure say you not a pimp. You know they take coke junkie, you not a clean. Sit down by yourself, no make like you deaf. Star, I they talk to you like you wet. Buy and sell not the best, but it's less. How you go sell tea where you buy for where? But me brother they don't answer me no. Not to swear, the street now college. We gon' give you wisdom, forget your freedom. Just watch the way you walk and the way you talk before you get some knowledge. The street now college. We gon' give you wisdom, forget your freedom. Just watch the way you walk and the way you talk before you get some knowledge. The street now college. We gon' give you wisdom, forget your freedom. Just watch the way you walk and the way you talk before you get some knowledge. The street now college. We gon' give you wisdom, forget your freedom. Just watch the way you walk and the way you talk before you get some knowledge.
That's how we do. And what we do for real. I'm in the OZ, daughter of Zion. Big love, big shot. Gazi, and the G, alright? It's just INC.
Yes, this not time for all Salon people and them party them. Sierra Leone Media will be bringing you a variety of programs ranging from documentaries to discussions, interviews, news, views, sports, and entertainment. Our programs will contain matters on development, governance, the economy, and issues that are of importance to Sierra Leone. So, no left BNO because we get Bebe program then like Salon discussion, meets the ministers, the president's hour and the Gladi program, Look Me, I Look You. All this they start soon na www.sierragemmedia.org. Now who's tem these?
As we talk about burning issues ranging from politics to the economy, culture to sport, education to entertainment, corruption to the environment, we realize the Sierra Leone story is far from finished. So, Sierra Leone Media Production brings you Zoom In. Zoom In is the program that engages everyday people, entrepreneurs, inventors, entertainers, activists, policymakers, and politicians to discuss and debate issues relating to Sierra Leone. Zoom In digs deep into the issues and stories. Zooming in ensures the debate is pushed to another level. Zooming in asks those questions that has never been asked before. So, join us in host Chumaba. As we talk about burning issues ranging from politics to the economy, culture to sport, education to entertainment, corruption to the environment, we realize the Sierra Leone story is far from finished. So, Sierra Leone Media Production brings you Zoom In. Zooming In is the program that engages everyday people, entrepreneurs, inventors, entertainers, activists, policymakers, and politicians to discuss and debate issues relating to Sierra Leone. Zooming In digs deep into the issues and stories. Zooming In ensures the debate is pushed to another level. Zooming In asks those questions that has never been asked before. So, join us in host Chumaba.